If you like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe, and also share with others so that we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. We couldn't do this show without you, so I just wanted to say thank you. And if you want to help support us, go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
What it costs. I want to know what the truth is. And I hope that people, my son, anybody, if my name comes up, whether you like me, whether you agree with me or not, at least you can respect the fact that he's on a quest for truth. He's on a quest for truth.
Welcome to Skiba News Nation, bringing you unfiltered views, news, interviews, discussions, and more. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Skiba, award-winning musician and son of Rob Skiba.
Hey Skiba News Nation family, welcome to episode 88 of Skiba News Nation, your weekly source of the latest news, controversial topics, conspiracies, forgotten history, and so much more. I'm your host, Jeremiah Skiba, and today we're going to be talking about Russia and China warning us with a meme, our favorite FE songs, South Park exposes the US healthcare system, the holy grail of shipwrecks found, President Trump on Tim Pool's podcast, Insider tells Tucker Carlson Biden is on drugs. Weird underwater anomaly, UFO, or man-made? Was JFK gay? NASA admitted they faked it all. An all-new OPA'S corner, and for history, I'll be showing you some exclusive footage that we took of dinosaur prints and Nephilim prints. A new TruthTok segment, memes, and much more, so subscribe and stay tuned. Now, as always, before I introduce my co-host, I want to show you guys this. This was sent to me. This is Jake dancing, allegedly. And in all realness, I wish I could dance like that.
Hey man, if that was me, that's probably how I would dance. Absolutely.
Beautiful,
I mean,
man.
Such skill. Such skill.
You know, I don't doubt that for a second that you'll dance just like that. It's great. Anyways, what's been up, man? How you doing? Welcome, I should say.
Oh, doing great, man. I mean, I gotta ask, do you like my hat?
I love the hat. Cookie Monster.
Oh yeah. If cookies are the truth, then you can call me the monster.
Oh. I was thinking about putting a googly eyes on a hat like that. That'd be funny. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Hey, I wanted to tell everybody watching, if you're a fan of Owen Benjamin's comedy or you're part of the bear community, Jeremiah and I were actually on Hanging with the Bears just last week, had a really great conversation with Telecaster Bear. So if you want, go and check it out over on YouTube. They re-uploaded it. Really come into a whole thing of his own. And so what we've done with Skiba News Nation is we've built a whole totally new platform. It's Hanging with the Bears, and my handle is Gibbereem Bear on the Beartaria Times app. And we had a great time, man. You jumped on there. We were talking. Just a blast. And I love the bear community. It is so healthy in terms of people pursuing truth, questioning lies. And, you know, there's another person online I see is a fan of the bear community and Owen Benjamin's comedy is Bryson Gray. He apparently recently found Owen Benjamin's lost bike that he's always talking about. So I saw Owen giving him some props under his post here for being able to do some back and forth, you know, comedy-wise on the online sphere of people. But the reason I share this for any bears watching is Bryson Gray is actually going to be headlining our 2024 Hebrew Fest Festival. So he has got some fantastic music, very gifted writer, breaking down some very important truths of the world. But Hebrew Fest is a fun event, and if you haven't got your tickets yet, please do. It's June 20th through 23rd. There's camping, and guess what? Yours truly is going to be there. We're going to be Simply Prodigal is going to be performing. Not only that, but Jeremiah and Lynsi are coming up, and it's going to be a blast.
Maybe my mom, if she's feeling up for it, she said she really wanted to come. So we'll keep you posted. I wasn't supposed to say it last week, but I said it last week. But yeah, man, we need to do something live with Opa, because he said he'll be at the controls and we could go live. So if you guys want to be a part of Skiba News Nation too, that'd be great. I look forward to it, man.
That's awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited. And music is so important. And, I shared that video we did with Telecaster Bear. And he actually is the one who invited us to perform at the Beartaria Times National Festival last year. And this year, we're going to be performing there as well. So that's another event that's coming up for those who are Owen Benjamin fans. But, yeah, man, I'm super stoked for Hebrew Fest. If you want, you can go and get tickets on HebrewFest.net. And, and they also released that there is some assistance for people who can't afford tickets. But if you can, please just pay the cheap amount for this tickets for a 3-day event, because you need to support the things that you like, including this channel, by the way. So subscribe, jump on our Patreon, buy some merch or whatever, because you gotta support what you like, and that's how you keep the things that you like continuing on.
Especially since we're demonetized half the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeremiah, with that little announcement, hope we see you guys there. We'll probably have a Skiba News Nation meetup at the Hebrew Fest. But
I know you got some great current news. Yeah, you read my mind. Let's.
All right, just a little quote from an ancient Greek philosopher. No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth. Plato. Oh, man. They might be ancient, they might be Greek, but at least they had some interesting things to say, right?
Right.
Well, I wanted to share this. It's very important. We cover news, but we also cover the aspects of working on yourself. Because how can you challenge what's going on out in the world if you're still dealing with all the issues in here, right? Well, check out this chart. This is a tree on one side showing the fruit of being a selfish gamma, right? Being somebody who is not focused on the most important things, which is our relationship with our Father in heaven. But on the right side, you see the fruit of when you focus on righteousness. You focus on your relationship, your faith, and your family. And so, people are constantly struggling with dishonesty, laziness, being confused, hopelessness, depression, worried, being superficial, self-centered. And these are the fruits that the system of distractions tries to manifest in your life, because it doesn't want you working on yourself. All these things that come against us want us juggling too many balls, and then we drop the ball of our own life and our own walk. The dropping the ball of what really matters. And the wisest man who ever lived said this: fear Yah and keep his commandments. That's the whole duty of man, the whole purpose. And why is it? Well, it's because when we chase after our relationship with the Almighty, then we start manifesting these good fruits. These are the things that most people are reaching and clawing to get, which is confidence, self-control, diligence, peace, creativity, goodness, loyalty, happiness, gentleness, trust. Man, and that's all something that you can gain when you put the Almighty first. It's written in the scriptures, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all of these things will be added to you. Not the things on the far left side, right? But, my mindset has been changed regarding a statement, which is about, seeking after God, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. And I always grew up thinking that meant, if I pursue my relationship with Christ, then I will get a nice car and a really hot girlfriend and all the cool things. But you got to change your perspective, because when you pursue after the Almighty with your whole heart, then he gives you the desires of your heart. And what that means is he puts his desires in your heart so that when you walk out this life, you desire the things that he would desire. And what that does is it allows us to be a light in the world. It allows us to manifest these fruits, right? Because we truly do feel the love of the Almighty when we love others. And the love of God is also to keep his commandments. And so walking righteousness, pursuing after the Messiah's example, right? Our faith in the scripture and applying it in our life is the way that we start to manifest the right fruit. And that's how we get ourselves under control so that we can deal with all the crap going on out there.
Yep.
But don't be deceived. You know, the modern church and the systems of religion are magnets for predators, because more so than any other institution, people that will abuse you both physically and mentally seem to be attracted to people seeking guidance in spiritual matters. And we see that, it used to be Satan who convinced everyone not to keep the commandments. Now it's the Christians through a variety of theology and doctrine. You know, people who say that Christ is who he is, but will lead many astray, are definitely on the scene today. And I recently watched a great documentary that I wanted to show our viewers to check out. It's The Third Adam and the Rise of the Divine Feminine.
It's her. But why? She's no real threat to you. But she is a threat to the old ways. She is a threat to those whose outdated theological positions prevent us from the progress that we desperately need today.
And this documentary covers the culture change in the modern Christian church as it adopts principles of liberalism. And the reason that this is significant is because it institutes a political correct nature that is, don't offend me, everyone is welcome, we love everyone. And what it is it's manifesting the beehive system that we see in the cities, which is you have the queen on top, the divine feminine on top, kind of turning men into these flimsy feminist, just effeminized plebs that are just used for sex and then kicked out of the hive. And then everybody lives in their little worker bee thing where everybody must follow this concise thinking pattern. And it's really interesting, the dichotomy between liberalism and the modern church system and the deceptions therein. Because it's not only that, you have the space monkey ball religion came from the Catholic Church. These systems are not perfect. In pursuing after your relationship with God, there are many roads that will lead you astray. I trust science, not claims from religious men. Hey, really? Have you met the Jesuit priest Georges Lemaitre, the inventor of the Big Bang? So even in the systems that people are putting trust in, these churches, these denominations, these theologies of man that lead people into lawlessness, lead people astray. When you realize that the prosperity gospel offers you everything Satan offered Christ. Just donate to your favorite hip hop pastor and you'll get all the desires of your heart, all the money, all the wealth, all the things. Man, it's just a crazy world to live in. And so while I am encouraging people to pursue after your relationship with the Almighty, to pursue after Yah and his ways, just be very wary that these systems that make it easier for you to go down these spiritual pursuits oftentimes have predators in waiting. And we live in a day and age, speaking of liberalism, that would shock even George Orwell. And as we see the social credit score system rolled out, where if you don't line up with the political correct mindset, then you're ostracized, you're canceled. If you have a different opinion to the mainstream, the Truth Squad's coming after you. And because I shared that documentary about the rise of the divine feminine and how it's influencing church culture, denominational Christianity, and how they're propping up this liberalized mindset, I wanted to share this fantastic post from Owen Benjamin, since I also talked about our Hanging with the Bears interview. And he shared this. In a libertarian utopia, a private company, which would be all companies, could ban or deny service to anyone for any reason, including water and electricity. If you don't align by their social credit score system and, you have bad thoughts that are dangerous, no electricity for you, right? But being a chomo, I don't want to read this out loud, would be fine, right? Especially if money is exchanged for that interaction of business, just like, you have people in the upper echelon, the Epstein Island types, right? They justify it because, they're got some kind of messed up mind that is like, oh, we can operate in this wicked way. Well, that's actually a world without government following the non-aggression principle. It's the political correct culture that we're talking about. It's very simple to understand. That's why the Libertarian Caucus really wants to lower the age of children consent, raise the age of abortion, RFK Jr. said right up until birth, and decriminalize fentanyl. Any service with 2 willing participants is allowed with no restrictions. No citizen has any public rights or protections, and this is freedom. Owen has some fantastic perspectives. No wonder I'm a fan of his comedy, and call myself a bear as well. But it's in relation to this topic of the liberal agenda pushed in today's world. We covered in previous episodes how the natural evolution of being a liberal, right, is to fight against group conformity, to the extent that one of the last bastions of attack is on very basic group concepts like gender. And not only that, but it's a wicked society that requires the concept of political correctness or acceptance despite what people believe and think. And that's because if you're so liberalized that you are a chomo or you're some crazy evil person, because you have this hedonistic, anti-God, anti-Christ mindset, you believe people should accept you for you. And a culture, a government, like man's government is what I speak of, is for the lawless. It's for people who don't believe in a higher power, who don't believe in true morality based on the scripture. And so the government has to be put in place so that the laws of mankind can keep people from just eating each other, right?
Yep.
And and these concepts are some things that we cover in Skiba News Nation. For those of you who've never seen us before, hopefully you can see what we're trying to explain here. That's enough pontificating. Let's get into some of the topics today. Starting off, do you guys remember the Kingsman movie back in 2014 where the villain is a nerdy tech billionaire meeting with all the global leaders to solve climate change? So he gives out a free product to billions around the world, then pumps out a 5G frequency that makes everyone kill each other? Science fiction is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That really reminds me of 2020, 2021, and some of the agendas of free products dished out to the masses, right?
By billionaires.
And by billionaires, right? People are now going into denial phase, those who participated in and didn't see through the lie, which is very sad. I'm very sorry for you. Is the 10 stages of mRNA denial. 1, it's the cure. 2, it's not the cure, but it prevents you from getting it. 3, it doesn't prevent you from getting it, but it prevents you from getting sick. 4, it doesn't prevent you from getting sick, but it prevents you from getting really sick. 5, it doesn't prevent you from getting really sick, but it prevents you from dying. 6, it doesn't prevent you from dying, but it prevents most people from dying. 7, hey, it's still net benefit, right? 8, okay, well, at least it doesn't actively harm people. 9, Okay, well, at least it doesn't harm that many people. And then 10. Okay, it's poison. Oh, man.
Well, they
And,
finally came around at the end.
It finally came around. And for those who need visuals to help understand denial at this medical experiment that was plagued mankind, here's a butter comparison, right? So the first denial is, oh, it's almost butter, right? And then anger, right? What not butter, right? And then bargaining. Could it be butter? And then depression. It's not butter. And then acceptance. You're eating margarine, right? So,
That's funny.
That's just a analogy for what we were talking about. Here's in some other interesting internet-related news. The internet is disappearing, with a quarter of all web pages from 2013 to 2023 going the way of the dodo. The internet never forgets, except, when it does. So it looks like a bunch of archived old web pages might be no longer accessible. Well, so long, thanks for all the fish. A study from the Pew Research Center entitled "When Online Content Disappears" indicates that our beloved internet may well be disappearing beneath our fingers, with a quarter of all web pages that exist between 2013 and 2023 no longer accessible. Contrary to popular perception that everything committed to the interwebs is destined to exist forever, the study revealed that 38% of pages that exist in 2013 alone have now been lost. It doesn't appear to be an age-related phenomenon either. Even newer pages appear to be performing vanishing acts. 8% of pages that existed in 2023 were found to be unavailable too. So the reason I wanted to point this out is they are actively doing a book burning in relation to a lot of topics, not just the medical deception, not just NASA fraud, but like things that you used to be able to find, research, content, articles that verified, validated certain world perspectives are being systematically scrubbed from the internet. And so that's why hard copy is very important. That's why saving things in, offline is very, very important, because you might not always be able to access the things that convinced you to believe the way you believe about the world today, because they're actively trying to tailor our online experience to turn us into the thought monkeys that they want us to be. So I wanted to bring up that topic. We have this interesting thing here. The Washington Post tells staff they must use AI to improve profitability. So another element of this is the interaction of AI in the internet world, because with the computing power of AI, they can troll through millions and millions of articles and papers and all the things and find the things that they deem dangerous. But not only that, the entertainment industry and the news industries, the Washington Post, if you call them news, right, are now looking at using AI to make their articles, their technology, whatever, more profitable. And so you have to understand the danger of AI. And I recently saw a clip from Elon talking about how AI has such dangerous pre-programmed political biases that it turns it into a liar. And I can agree with Elon Musk on this. While I have a lot of major questions about other things, Elon made a good point regarding this, is that AI needs to be a truth bastion, and I highly doubt that that's the way it's being programmed today. And I don't know what agenda might be pushed through even Elon's new X AI, but we have Google, we have OpenAI, we have ChatGPT. These very obviously, over the past year or two, have very strong liberal political biases, to the point where you ask it to show a picture of George Washington, and it comes back as a black guy, and it's not that a depiction of art is wrong or whatever, but the problem is it's literally lying about what somebody looked like just to fit a bias that it believes the world is desiring. And so all of these concepts we got to be aware of, because once AI is fully let loose into our everyday lives, as it is starting to trickle in, right? We have to understand that AI can be a lie.
Yep. It's a lie.
So, oh, sorry, what you're saying?
I said AI the lie.
AI the lie. Don't look into its eye. No, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Because I want to take a little diversion from news for a second, because in some of our news segment we cover some very great material regarding cosmology and the space monkey ball of religion. So let's start with my favorite, which is SQ Day Souvenirs, You Live on a Ball, Flat Earth music video. Check this out.
The earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour, they say. 67,000 miles per hour orbits the sun. And at 514,000 miles per hour, the sun orbits the galaxy. That's a whole lot of moving for something that feels like it ain't moving at all. Those twinkling lights up above you are light years away, and that's why there's no parallax to be seen. You live on a giant ball. It takes faith to believe that you are, and I guess I just don't have enough, 'cause I swear it's as flat as it looks. I think it's bullshit. Yeah, I think it's a big fat lie. I think the so-called geniuses were just fucking with us, or just way too high. I think it's bullshit. Yeah, I think we ain't moving at all. I think the sun, moon, and stars are just circling around the middle. The surface of water is flat, I think we all know. Well, I guess that's why they call it sea level. Yes, I believe in mathematical curves, but I trust my eyes over foolishness, and I tell you this world is foolish. Well, the earth is actually pear-shaped, only I'll toss and say. All of those billions of years spinning through space, and somehow gravity's holding you on. Everything's random, there ain't no God, just a black infinite universe. I think it's bullshit. Yeah, I think it's a big fat lie. I think the so-called geniuses were just laying groundwork for Antichrist. I think that they're hiding God, spiritual wickedness. Repeat it until you believe it. Repeat it until you can see it. You live on a ball. You live on a ball. You live on a ball. You live on a ball.
All right. right, that song, man, it just strikes a chord in my heart. I love how he sings that, and I really hope our audience enjoyed that as well. Please go and subscribe and like that song and share it out, because he put it so nicely, right? How this whole system of deception pushed forward by NASA and government agencies and space monkey ball advocates like Elon, who want to go to Mars, what they're doing is they're setting up the groundwork for the Antichrist.
Yep.
And you know,
What is
he
it
has some
called?
strong-
What is it called?
It's the song is "You Live on a Ball," Flat Earth music video by SQ Day Souvenirs, and it's only got 2.7 thousand views. And man, one of my favorite FE songs of all time.
All right. Well, if you send it to me, I will put it in the description. I think that's important. Let's get him some views.
Oh, yes. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning into some of our beautiful biblical cosmological music. And the concept of challenging paradigms that can make you look like an absolute crazy person is actually very freeing. And I know there's people that might listen to a show that are not on board. If you aren't, I would highly encourage you to check out the work of Rob Skiba. I would check out Wits It Gets It. Very empirical-minded debater, breaks down the scientific aspect of it. Down into the Rabbit Hole, David Weiss. All of these content producers online are compiling how we're absolutely being lied to by government agencies like NASA, and people work for NASA and are being lied to by the people they work for. But the concept is this, is that they are setting up this bow to the beast mentality. If you wear a white lab coat, then you have to give in to what they teach and tell. And if you watched that recent interview with Lawrence on the Joe Rogan podcast, we brought it up last week. While he did buy into the space monkey ball religion, and he was talking about Goldilocks zones, and I was showing that in last week's episode, the concept of what gravity is and the concept of how nature, frequency, and energy work and interact that he was getting into was very compelling and very interesting, because he was poking holes in a lot of the physics and the concepts that were Einsteinian in nature. And the truth is Einstein was a fraudster and a sham that stole a lot of his ideas, and we've been groomed in history to believe he's this genius hero. But the truth is that so many deceptions are built upon his Einsteinian principles that are actually disproven, right? We need to look at the world and the universe much more in the Nikola Tesla kind of energy, frequency, vibration, because gravity is a lie, and we have to figure that out if we can go deeper into the rabbit hole. So I wanted to start off with that. Let's check out this picture, which is going viral recently on Chinese social media. Check it out.
What the heck?
It's China and Russia there getting ready to fight against the big Hydra, which is the United States and Britain and these liberal G20, countries, the countries that are pushing the war in Ukraine so that they can have transgender ideology taught in their schools, and women can rise in power. Just the concept that they are setting themselves up as these heroes to defeat the G20 is really interesting. And man, I am so grateful that I live in the United States of America. Don't get me wrong. The environment that this land fosters is truly a land of the free, in terms of you can choose to go whatever direction and spend time, energy, and focus developing your interests and your passions to make a living of them and everything. But man, we do manifest on the world stage pushing the current ideologies that I disagree with. The liberal ideology, the transgender movement, the economic and the environmental agendas are being championed in our nation, and it is turning us and the G20 and all these nations that are pushing these agendas as like an evil hydra, and it's really a crazy concept to think. And it makes me wonder back, 20, 30 years ago when you had the Cold War going on and you had the people that were the Russian sympathizers, they were painted as these evil bad guys. And I could imagine that the liberal agenda in today's world wants to do just that, to militarize the mindset that if you don't buy into liberalized transgender, abortion theology or whatever, then you are a danger to our nation. You are a traitor to our principles. And I don't believe that's true. But we have to be aware of how we are portrayed on the world stage. And Russia and China are like, look, we are the righteous warriors about to chop that dragon's head off, right? And man, it's just a crazy paradigm, especially being an American who's living through all of this deception.
With a puppet for president.
So,
healthcare system and honestly represented it way too accurately. Let's take a look at a little bit of what they did.
Sorry, but we don't pay for medicines for obesity because it's not a disease.
Who was that?
That was the medical director. The medical director decides what claims are valid for us to pay for.
But you didn't say who the patient was or what was wrong with him.
Right. The medical director's job is just to say no.
Look, my friend's mom has been paying you people for years, and his doctor says his weight is a medical concern and obesity is a disease. Oprah Winfrey said so.
Okay, calm down. I didn't realize I was dealing with someone who had so much determination. If you do a little more work, I think we can get your medications paid for.
What, we can?
Yeah, you see, the doctors and the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies all kind of work together. So all you have to do is navigate the American healthcare system.
We go back to the doctor, we go back to the specialist who talks to the insurance company, the faxes, the medical advisors on the phone in the mountain. And we're going in one place and we're coming out the other place. And we're back over here now, and I was just over there. And I'm getting confused, and it's getting dark. And my mind is all different colors, and I think I'm lost. Hey, fellas, I think I'm lost in the American healthcare system. Fellas!
I don't think there's anyone in America who has interacted with our health system at all who does not relate to that situation, where you just know, no matter what it is, no matter whether you have, I mean, this is for people who actually have insurance, right?
Yes.
This is like the best case scenario.
Exactly.
You know it's going to be a nightmare. You know you're going to get some crazy bill. You know things that you thought were going to be paid for are not going to be paid for. You know there's going to be 18,000 forms for you to fill out, none of which are really comprehensible. Like, it's just complete insanity, and it's not like we get good health results on the end of it either.
Right. So the key thing to take from all of this nonsense is that they are, what I love this is that it makes it so crystal clear, and it also demonstrates that it is a cartel, which we often, focus in on one thing, the pharmaceutical company.
Right.
And sure, they should be demonized. Or we focus in on the insurance companies. It's the doctors too. And that is why it is so perfect, because it's like, well, the doctors work for the hospital system. The hospital system works with the drug company, who works with the pharmaceutical company. And the three of them come together. Their job is to say no, but obesity is not a disease, but you could pay for this if you have this complicated maneuver. I highly encourage people to understand and to really look at what their actual payments look like for drugs. There are pre-negotiated rates that insurance companies are allowed to pay for drugs, which are much, much higher than they actually cost if you were to pay for it out of pocket. That then gets dinged out of the amount of allowable spend that you actually have in your plan. None of this matters if you're healthy, but if you're old, you can hit that number real quick, and then you end up paying out of pocket, but you're paying out of pocket at the higher rate that was previously negotiated. It's a scam. It's a total scam. And the doctors are just as complicit as anybody in this, not even in the corrupt way of like them hanging out with pharma companies and all of that, but in terms of the way that they work the health system to keep their salaries incredibly high. Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't have very tough jobs and they shouldn't get paid well, but part of the reason is the American Medical Association, which itself is a cartel. There's all this stuff that's happening. So South Park, as usual, is able to just like pierce, at the very, very heart of the issue. And this episode is actually the most culturally relevant one that I've seen in a long time.
It's the first one that's really sort of like,
it's been years since I've seen
pierced
one.
through.
Well, actually, no. The Harry and Meghan thing was really good too.
That's
Yeah,
we covered that. I forgot we covered that.
Yeah, Harry and Meghan was also
I actually
incredible.
watched that whole episode.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love South Park. I've been with them from the beginning. Trey and Matt, Book of Mormon, all basketball, everything they've ever done, I've encouraged it. But this one seems to have broken through both Twitter, Instagram. I've seen it everywhere for the discussion.
Yeah.
And it's because it just takes, it just shows you the deep rot of the entire system. And Ozempic too, a lot of the discussion, it really does seem to show everybody what this whole thing is about, because you see food companies that are now creating Ozempic friendly foods. You see Novo Novartis, which is one of the makers of Ozempic. I mean, they are making so much money. They have to, when they convert dollars into Danish kroner, the Danish central bank has had to adjust its currency rates or whatever because they're inflating the kroner. That's how filthy rich this company is becoming. Now you've got these competitors. I just read about Hims or whatever it's called. It's coming out with an Ozempic competitor that only costs $500 a month or something like that. And these people are making so much money off of the backs of this, and it just shows us where preventative care is so much cheaper, like to not get obese in the first place, but sick care or, the current medical system, even Ozempic, where you treat somebody for obesity after they're already obese, that's where all the real money is.
I mean, if you're putting profit at the center of healthcare instead of health at the center of healthcare, you're going to get a disgusting, effed up system like what we have that does not give us health or care. Let's put this up on the screen just as one metric, but a pretty important one. Here is the life expectancy rankings for every country in the G7. And you guessed it, that dark blue line that is falling off a freaking cliff, that would be the US. And we spend more in healthcare than anyone else, okay? We're getting completely ripped off because the beating heart of the whole thing is corruption and corporate greed.
Okay, South Park skewering the American healthcare system. They are one of those shows that I grew up seeing it over the years, and while very foul and filthy in terms of their thought processes, a lot of the times, they do poke and jeer at things that publicly often are not poked and jeered at. Sometimes therein is some really interesting, profound truths.
South Park's the best, man. They did the whole, that they're the first ones that exposed Scientology and all that stuff, and man, they're on top of the ball with everything. Even when you came by, it was that Disney one, and it was Disney and the Prime Energy, but we watched it in mute because your daughters were there and we didn't want them to hear any of the foul language. But it was great just reading what they were saying because we knew.
It's so true.
Yep, it is true. That's how they warn us.
All right.
With comedy.
With comedy, you can break truths, and that's why I'm such a fan of truth or comedy,
Yeah.
Here's an interesting video. Just recently, some Jordanians were arrested trying to enter a Marine base poised as delivery drivers. Check this out.
New details about the arrest of two non-citizens who tried ramming their way into Marine Base Quantico earlier this month. We now know both men were posing as delivery drivers, were from Jordan. One of them, a student who had an expired student visa. It had expired in January of 2023, while the other entered the U.S. illegally back in April before being released the next day with a notice to appear before an immigration judge. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement says neither man was listed on the terror watch list, despite reports from other outlets. So I'd like to bring in Chuck Marino, former DHS advisor and former Secret Service supervisory special agent. Chuck, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. There's still so many things unknown about this, but really what stands out to you most about the events surrounding this arrest? Kind of talk about what went right.
Well, I think it's tragic that post 9/11, 2001, that as a country we're having to talk about this and that questions like these remain out there, despite all the changes that we made, the departments that we created, like the Department of Homeland Security, the new agencies we created, like TSA and others, and all the billions and billions of dollars that we've spent. But the fact is this incident should not be a surprise to the American people. We literally have an administration, a government at war with itself through policies that are ineffective, inept, and undercut our entire homeland security apparatus. So nothing went right with this, Nicole. This is my long way of saying none of this should have happened. We are allowing people into the country in which it's impossible to thoroughly vet them, and we're letting them in, be it criminal aliens or those on the terrorist watch list, or those coming from special interest locations where we know that terrorist organizations with a deep hatred of the West remain up and running and operational.
So, Chuck, we saw, as you were speaking there, a graphic saying, kind of describing these two men. We know that they were posing as delivery drivers. We don't know what they were attempting to you. From your perspective, what are the most important questions that need to be answered surrounding these two individuals?
Well, there's just too many unknown unknowns that have been allowed to enter into the equation here based on these policies. So we don't know, for example, what was the purpose of these two that are in the country illegally from Jordan to go to a military base, a highly secure military base? Was it to probe? Was it to see if they could get in for a future attack? We just don't know. And the problem is we've got big buckets like gotaways that are well over 2 million, where we just have absolutely no idea what their purpose is for coming into the country. So we have to go with the assumption that the country has been infiltrated. We have example after example of that. We know that those actually on the terrorist watch list, even though they say these two individuals weren't, we know that those that are on that list have made their way into the country, right, and have remained for quite some time. So this is entirely problematic. I think that the country has become a much more dangerous place, and I think security officials around the country are aware of this and are stepping up their operations the best that they can. But this is helping nobody. Right. This is really undercutting the efforts of the men and women that are out there on the front lines each and every day, and it needs to change.
Yeah, and it really is a real risk. It's easy for us to think that nothing will happen when nothing does, but the problem is when something does happen. How difficult do you think it will be to find out what their intentions were, why they were trying to get onto Quantico?
Well, now that they're in the hands of ICE officials and will be prioritized for deportation, prior to that happening, I think you'll see agencies like the FBI get a chance to find out and dig deeper to see exactly what their motive was and what the ultimate purpose may have been. Not that we'll get answers, but there certainly will be an attempt. And the other thing is, how many more are there? Right. Was this part of a coordinated probing effort, or was this actually intended to be some form of an attack? Let's remember that this was a large box truck, which could have been used as a weapon itself. And we know that terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and ISIS promote the use of vehicles in attacks against Americans.
All right, so head on a swivel. We have the bells of World War III, and a lot of people getting stirred up and pissed off in the Middle East. And so when you see things like this, and you see how many people are able to cross into the United States over the border, it makes you wonder, could we see a manifestation of what happened to Israel on the last great day, last year? But man, definitely a time to be alive, right? Second Amendment all the way. Be prepared.
Always.
Here's a very fascinating article. An expedition begins on the holy grail of shipwrecks filled with millions of gold coins, emeralds worth $20 billion. So this looks super interesting. This is the underwater footage, apparently. Now, this is an 18th century shipwreck, and they're trying to cash in on some treasure hunting, you know what I mean?
I would too, man.
Of all the professions that I remember growing up wanting to get into, being like an Indiana Jones or like a shipwreck scuba diver guy that goes down and finds ancient treasures, that always piqued my interest. Like, I was always like, man, I hope one day I stumble into a big treasure box in the back of a secret cave, It's just it gets me so excited. Now, this is being looked at by the government of Colombia, and it's a deep water expedition of the San Jose Shipwreck, which is rumored to contain cargo worth billions. The galleon sank in 1708 en route to Cartagena, Colombia, after it was ambushed by an English squadron. Roughly 600 people on the ship died, with very few survivors. The shipwreck is believed to contain 11 million gold and silver coins. Wow. That is a lot of gold and silver. Very interesting. Man, maybe one day we could go on an expedition, Jeremiah, and find some treasure.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite YouTube lanes to go down sometimes. I don't know why, but a lot of times the government of wherever the water is sanctioned, they will try to take control of it before you can even cash in anything or take anything.
Oh, yeah.
So they better be careful.
There's several examples in U.S. archaeology where people have found amazing things. They then go and tell the Smithsonian or whatever, and the government comes in, seals it off, takes it. So if you find something really cool, really valuable,
keep it to yourself.
As long as you're not stealing, right?
Yeah.
I would say, be aware that, man, they
will try to get you.
Want to hide that stuff and cover it up, and they'll take, gold coins is one thing, but if you find some kind of ancient document or text or something that could change the world in a positive way, make sure you get that out, the information out to as many people as possible before you're shut down.
Well, I did tell Lynsi. I told Lynsi after I pass to someday, way in the future, hopefully, to donate all my weird memorabilia to a museum. I'd rather it be seen by everybody, but I want to have it while I'm still here,
Because just in the times I've got to visit, you have such cool collections. So as you grow it, I can only imagine how interesting it'll get. But on a realm of news that you might personally find interesting, Jeremiah, here's President Trump going on the Timcast with Tim Pool and Kash Patel. Check this out.
Complimented my face. I really do appreciate it.
Your beauty.
Thanks for sitting down. I really do appreciate it. So I know you don't have a lot of time, so I'll just we'll jump right in.
Okay, good.
We had a couple polls we went over on our show, IRL. Young people, surprisingly, immigration is a top issue for them now. I was talking to a young guy, he's 26. He says he's watching what's going on in New York. He owns a business. He can't afford to buy his own house. He struggles to be able to support a family. And I know that you've said that there's going to be the largest deportation effort in your next term. How do we do it?
So millions and millions of people are coming into a country, and it's not necessarily exactly what we want or had in mind. They have open borders where people just flow in, and many of those people are coming from prisons. Many of those people, frankly, are murderers, and they're drug dealers, and they're coming from mental institutions. And they're coming from places that are not going to work very well. It's not going to be very good for our country. So we're going to start with that, and we have to get them out. No country can sustain what we're going through. I believe the number is 15, 16 million, could even be 17 million people right now.
Is
that's more than that's bigger than almost all of our states.
I think it's freaking out young people. How do we do it, though? I mean, is it going to be new personnel?
It will really be done with local police. The respect has been taken away. The honor has been taken away from our police forces. They're not allowed to do anything. And whether it's libertarian or not libertarian, you have to have law and order. You can't have 500 people walking into a department store and just walking out with everything they have. And we have to give honor and respect back. And I believe immunity, because, so often when a police person does their job, they end up with no pension. They end up with no house. They end up with no family. Everything's taken away from them. They have to get their own lawyer. So we're going to give them back their dignity and their strength. The local police know the criminals that we're talking about. They know their first name, their middle name, and their last name. They know everything about them. And we're going to have to let them do that. And they will bring them in. We have no choice. And these are, in many cases, and this is from all over the world, not just South America, which is big enough. but they're coming in from the Congo. They're coming in from all parts of Africa. They're coming in from all parts of Asia, and it's an invasion into our country, and no country can handle this. So we're going to have them taken out. Local police, we're going to work very closely with the local police, and it's been done before. We had Dwight Eisenhower, believe it or not, did the biggest deportation. He pretty much stopped it. Strange that we mentioned Eisenhower because you don't think of him that way, but he did a massive deportation where people were pouring in.
The next big question that we get a lot is there's two components to this. The first is many of the libertarians here, we want to see firings. We want to see in the bureaucracy corrupt
I agree.
individuals, the bloat. On top of that, without getting into the specifics for obvious reasons, the things that they're doing to you with the court system is not just to you. It is to me. It is to everyone who voted for you in 2020.
It's true.
Are we going to get some good personnel in as Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, and in the CIA, and see some prosecutions?
So we had some great people because our trade numbers were fantastic. The jobs we did on trade, the jobs we did, frankly, in the military underneath the terrible television generals who were absolutely terrible, but we have incredible people. You know, we defeated ISIS, and we had no new wars because they were concerned with us. I had no wars at all. I finished off a war that we were in for 20 years, but we had no wars. And we have to get the right people. It's all about the people. So when I first came here, I was only in Washington 17 times in my life. All of a sudden, I'm president. And I really knew nobody. I relied on people. Some were good, some were rhinos, some gave us some bad advice. And generally speaking, we had very good people. But we had some that we have to do better. Attorney General, we have to get a great Attorney General. And I'd work with the Libertarian Party on that. I think it's very good because, you know, I view the Libertarian Party as almost a party of common sense, largely of common sense. And I say that about the Republican Party, too. We're a party of common sense. You want borders, but you want fairness. You want a lot of things that a lot of other people don't talk about. So we will work with a lot of people to get the right people in. The difference is I now know sort of everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not having to be relying on people that I didn't know very well and listen to their recommendations. And I think we're going to have phenomenal people. I know the people. I know the good ones, the bad ones, the weak ones, the strong ones. I think we're going to have great people.
We're friends with Kash Patel. He was on the show just before you, and that gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Well, Kash is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's an example of a good one.
Yep.
We have some great people, but Kash was a great example. Devin Nunes, as you know, he's fantastic.
Absolutely.
We have so many great people.
So when it came to foreign policy, I'll be honest, I didn't vote for you in 2016. I was jaded. Obama let me down. I'm from Chicago. I thought 2016 was silly. And then in 2020, with the timeline for getting out of Afghanistan,
right?
When you tried to get our troops out of Syria, my question is, why are we in Syria? Who even knew?
Yeah.
And they lied to you, and they lied to us about the number of troops in there. And so maybe it's a bit blunt for me to say I want to see people prosecuted for the lies to the American people. But in terms of foreign policy, perhaps it's a little bit of a biased interview, but I think you're the greatest president of my lifetime.
I appreciate it.
And ending the wars that we should not have been involved in. Now the fear is World War III.
Yeah.
What are you looking at when you enter your next term to stopping the escalation?
Well, first of all, I'm the only one that is going to stop World War III because this man can't put two sentences together. He doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know where he is. And amazingly, it seems like he's going to be running. You know, it's a lot of people say, do you think he'll make it to the starting gate? Well, we'll see what happens. But if you look at Viktor Orban, because we don't want to see wars. I don't want to see wars. I was in no wars other than we finished a war with ISIS and we completed it, 100% complete. But I don't want to see wars. I think it's so horrible, so unnecessary, so costly in terms of lives and money in that order. And destroying these countries, you know, you're destroying culture. When you look at Ukraine, that would have never happened if I were president. You look at the October 7th attack on Israel, it would have never happened.
I look at your policies, I see secure the borders, bring jobs back. I look at the Democrats and many Republicans, and it's foreign war and foreign expansion.
That's right.
What is that?
I think it's just a failed mentality. It's crazy. You can solve problems over a telephone. Instead, they start dropping bombs. I see recently they're dropping bombs all over Yemen. You don't have to do that. You can talk in such a way where they respect you and they listen to you. Viktor Orban of Hungary, you know, the leader, they call him a strong man. Who cares if he's a strong man or not a strong man? He's a very powerful guy. He said the problem the world has is that Donald Trump is no longer president. When he was president, China didn't play around, Russia didn't play around, nobody played around, and we had no problems. Today, the whole world is on fire.
I heard that funny, there's a conversation from a phone call where you said that there was, they maybe thought there was a 5% chance you'd nuke them. And so it kept them in line. It's kind of scary to think about, but you take a look at the weakness we have now with Ukraine and the money that we are wasting. You know, I'll bring it back to the economy. This young guy I was talking to about immigration. Actually, I'll put it this way. There's a viral video where a young man's screaming that we're sending hundreds of billions to a country no one's ever heard of.
Right.
And young people are hurting in this country. Do you see any direct economic policy that is on your list for 2025?
Direct economic, but also direct in terms of warfare. We're spending hundreds of billions of dollars all around the world. But when you look at Ukraine, we're giving all of this money. Europe, which is much more affected by that war than us, is spending just a tiny fraction of what we're spending. And you say, does anybody at least get involved in this? But more importantly, I will end that war. I'll get it ended. Putin respects me. Zelensky respects me. I know all the players. And I want to get that war ended. It's a horrible war. It's a terrible, there's no good war, but that's a horrible war. And to think it would have never started. It would have never started. If the election turned out like it should have turned out, that war would have never started. I mean, and you know, the number of lives we're talking about is far greater than the numbers that you hear. When they blow up a town, or when they blow up these buildings, these massive buildings, surprisingly, I mean, these are big. That was my business. These are big, powerful buildings. And they come tumbling down to the ground and they say nobody was injured. A lot of people were killed.
Yeah.
And the numbers are a lot different than you think. When you will see that happening. When those numbers really get announced, you're going to see it's much worse than people think.
Here at the Libertarian Party National Convention, they had one of their, I believe one of their presidential nominees said he wants to see Fauci, the heads of Moderna, Pfizer, Biden, and you locked up for what happened during COVID. I don't agree with them, but there is a big sentiment. Elon Musk tweeted, prosecute Fauci. Fauci lied to Congress about the gain-of-function research that was going on, and now we have testimony.
Well, I'm the one that stopped the funding, and this was funding from before me. I'm the one that stopped the funding. Fauci wasn't a big player in my administration like he was after I left. I mean, Biden made him the king of everything, and if you take a look at that, Fauci was not the big player with me that he was. And in fact, I did things that he didn't want to do. He wanted to keep it open to China. I said, you got to close it to China because it was all coming out of China. It was coming out of Wuhan, which I said right at the beginning. But the other thing is, and what people don't realize, I believe in federalism. I gave the power to governors. Some governors did a great job. In all cases, they were Republicans. And some, like in South Carolina, Henry McMaster, kept everything open. Others didn't. The Democrats did a bad job, very bad job. But basically, I gave that power over the states. I gave it to the governor. I gave it back to the states. And I think it's something which, when people realize that, it's something that they respect.
Will there be accountability for the lying to Congress when you get to appoint your new AG, deputy AG?
Yeah, and we'll take a look at statute of limitations because, you know, the statute of limitations are quite long. And we're going to be looking at that very seriously, yeah.
I got one big question for you. So part of my family comes from Korea.
Good.
And you did what I think is one of the most tremendous things. You crossed the demilitarized zone into North Korea with no security as a sign of goodwill and peace with the hostile nation. And I've had people tell me it never happened. So I think people need to know about it. I'm wondering if you can just tell me how did that happen? How did it come to be?
And it hasn't happened since.
Yeah.
And when I met with, with the handoff, you sort of meet with the previous president for a period of time. The meeting lasted for quite a while. With President Obama, you sit in the Oval Office and you talk, and the press is outside, and you talk for a little while. He said the single greatest threat we have is North Korea. And I said, have you called them? Have you tried to talk to them? Little things like that. And didn't matter what the answer was. He felt that was the single biggest threat in the world was North Korea. And as you know, there was certain hostility when I first started, and all of a sudden it boiled down to something that was very beautiful, the way it happened. And I got along with him very well. And I will say that if Hillary won that race, you would have had a nuclear war and millions of people would have been killed. And you weren't even close to that. It never happened. It was never going to happen. I got along great with him. and it just never was going to happen.
Were you at all scared in any way when you crossed into an enemy country?
Well, I wouldn't say that Secret Service was thrilled. And in those blue buildings, there were lots of people in those buildings that I looked at. You know, the two blue buildings on each side with the windows. And I looked in those windows, and there were a lot of things happening in those. Someday I'll tell you about it. But no, I felt very safe. I felt my relationship with him, as you know, was very hostile. Little Rocket Man and all that. But then all of a sudden it morphed. He respected me. I respected him. And we ended up, once we got to know each other, we ended up very good. A very smart guy, very strong guy. He's the absolute leader of that country. You know, for those that think he's not, they're wrong. And I got to know him very well. I even did a press conference. He never did a press conference before. I said, would you like to do a press conference? And we did a press conference, if you remember. And then he said, that's the end of the press conference. And boom, everybody was pretty radically thrown out. But it was a press conference, the only press conference he's ever done. I got along with him great. We had no nuclear war. You would have had a nuclear war guaranteed. And you won't if we have the right president, if we have somebody that knows what he's doing, you're not going to have World War III. If, on the other hand, we don't, you're going to end up in World War III, and it's going to be a war like no other because of the power of weaponry.
Many have actually been saying we're already in it. The Hill published a piece saying we are in World War III and Biden is losing it. And so my hope is I don't see any logical path for a Biden presidency to fix the economy, to fix anything.
He can't fix any, he can't fix himself.
Yeah.
Can't fix anything.
He had a new one the other day, Pack-a-lack. I don't know if you saw that. He was muttering on TV, something like that. Now, crypto.
You know, by the way, I just so you know, I know all the leaders. They're at the top of their game. They're sharp. They're tough. They're smart. They love their country, or they do whatever they have to for their country at a minimum. And when they see this guy come in, I think they can't believe it. I know they can't believe it. It's not the right person.
So we'll do a couple quick ones. We don't have much time. You announced you're taking cryptocurrency.
What we're doing is we're backing it as a form of, as a field. And we have to, because otherwise somebody else is going to be doing it from another country. And as you know, they're already trying. And it's going to happen, and we're going to help it happen. And it's something that can be very good. I think it can be very good.
No central bank digital currencies?
No digital, no central bank.
And one more big one. Will you pardon Julian Assange?
Well, I'm going to talk about that today, and we're going to give it very serious consideration. And we're going to have a couple of other things to say in the speech that I think you're going to love.
I've heard some rumors.
And you've gotten so much out of me, I should leave a little bit for the speech, don't you think?
Mr. President, it is an honor and a privilege. I really do appreciate you sitting
down
with me.
And you're very respected, I have to say. When I did a little research, and some of my guys said, and I've met you before, but they said just a very respected guy. It's my honor. Even though we're keeping that big crowd, that's the biggest crowd they've ever had. We're keeping them waiting just for this interview, so congratulations.
Thank you so much. Shall we?
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
I really do appreciate it.
Great. Thanks. That was fun.
You got my vote.
We better win. We're not going to have a country.
Yeah. We're excited. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do.
Okay. So I think that is very interesting that Trump's going on these alt media casts. You know, Tim has 1.7 million subscribers. Maybe as we grow, one day we'll have the opportunity to interview Donald J. Trump as well.
That'd be a dream.
That would be really cool.
That'd be a dream of mine. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of things I would like to ask him, not even political stuff, just like funny things. He's hilarious. He's like a stand-up comic. It's great.
Yeah, I'd have some choice question as well. Anyways, yeah, I thought that was cool. Here's an interesting video of insider telling Tucker Carlson they saw Joe Biden taking drugs. Maybe that's why he's so loopy. Check this out.
Have to sit there. I mean, if we really play this thing out, I'd be curious with you. Why do you think they chose to all of a sudden flip June 27th debate, and then the next one's going to be, in September, and first one I think is CNN, second one I think it's ABC if I'm not mistaken. Why do you think all of a sudden they flip so quickly? Are you part of the camp that thinks maybe they're trying to see how good he's going to be to kind of replace him? Or what is the motive of trying to do
there are
it?
many levels, and I don't know the answer. I think it's getting a little late to try to replace him, honestly. And I think that'd be a pretty hard sell. And with whom? And what do you do with Kamala? This is the problem with DEI, with elevating people beyond their capacity. taking like a true mouth-breathing moron like Kamala Harris and making her vice president. Like these are the wages of sin that they're dealing with now, and I'm really glad to see it. So I don't know that they replace them. I don't know how they can. Maybe they're more clever than I am and have a plan. I think it's as simple as the guy who's down wants a debate. He needs to change the storyline. If the trend is hurting Joe Biden, it's not his friend. And so they got to do something. Like, why not a debate? And again, it comes back to pharmacology. Like, they're injecting him with drugs. And so for a short period of time, he can seem sentient and aware and semi-capable, old, but not a vegetable. The rest of the time he is a vegetable. And I think they can get away with that for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I think again, I don't know, but my guess is they think they just have to show that he's not as senile as you think he is. And that's going to be enough. It was did you watch State of the Union?
I did.
He didn't seem quite as retarded as he normally does. No, he didn't. And that's drugs. I mean, I know someone, a makeup artist who worked on Joe Biden during the 2020 campaign, who was there when he got the drugs, like in the room with the doctor.
What kind of drugs?
Presumably amphetamines.
Okay.
Adderall, some version of that.
Right.
And so who watched it and took over a series of days and told me all about it. So that's absolutely real. And we've never gotten a readout on what drugs he's taking. By the way, he's the president of the United States. He has a nuclear arsenal at his command.
Mm-hmm.
He has the briefcase. I mean, he should be required to disclose what drugs he's taking, no?
Yeah, we would want to know, but that's never going to happen. That's never.
Well, then who's in control of the government?
Right.
He's our employee. If your housekeeper shows up and she seems drunk, you get to say, "Are you drunk? Prove you're not drunk or go home."
All they're waiting for is the next George Floyd. That's all they need. They need their next George Floyd. And what month are we in right now? Today's what?
May 22nd.
Okay. May 25th is coming up in 3 days. May 26th is in a few days. They need chaos back again, except they're going to do it in a different way.
I keep thinking that about the Israel-Palestine thing. I'm probably the only person in the world who doesn't have very strong feelings on it. I like Israel, I'm not against the Palestinians. I'm just kind of agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just too American for this whole conversation. But when that becomes the biggest news story in the United States, a conflict across the globe, and when these protests are blown so out of proportion by all news media, you have to think, like, maybe this is not a reflection of reality. Like, maybe I'm being played here a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I'm being played a lot.
Well, maybe you are. But I want to apologize because I didn't start off by congratulating you on your one of the most honest outlets out there, Newsweek, reporting your massive contract you signed with Russian TV. Congratulations on that.
It's just part of my ongoing business relationship with Vladimir Putin. No, of course, I never even contemplated. I have no idea what they're talking about. I have nothing to do with Russian media. I couldn't even identify 3 Russian media outlets. Of course, I don't speak Russian. But that's a pretext for a FISA warrant. So you put that out there, and Newsweek knows this, and they're mad at me for other reasons, of course. And you put this out there, and all of a sudden it gives the Biden administration, an excuse to spy on me, which they already are, but and have been over the last several years. But what's crazy is you can live in a country where that's completely illegal, and everyone knows it's happening, and nobody says anything about it. And the only people who do say anything about it, like Julian Assange or Ed Snowden, like, they're the ones facing life in prison. It's like, it's a little bit upside down. I would say no, but that story. Look, the media don't just mislead you. They're not just worker bees for the Democratic Party. They're they want to hurt you. Like, actually hurt you, like put you in prison or kill you. Like, they're that involved in the machinery of internal repression in this country. So,
you're not saying that the DOJ would ever give permission to use deadly force when they're invading a former
when they're going through Melania's underwear drawers.
That would never happen.
Yeah, if Melania shows up and says, "Why are you going through my nightgowns?"
Boom.
Bam.
Yeah.
Deadly force.
Deadly force.
So I would say that the problem that we have as as people who are not part of the machine, you don't even need to be, it's not even a right or left question. It's, are you on the side of lies or are you not? Is we don't understand just how serious they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you were running DOJ and you saw a search warrant that said, yes, the use of deadly force applies in a documents case, a classified documents case. By the way, the documents were meaningless No one's ever shown otherwise. Doesn't matter. You can put them on the internet now. It just doesn't matter, actually. And if you were the Attorney General and you were looking through the warrant and said use of deadly force is allowed, you'd say, whoa, 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 whoa. We're literally rooting through Melania's dresser. We don't need to use deadly. Wouldn't you say that just as someone who believes in fairness and sanity?
The fact that you're putting that in there to give permission, and it's just kind of, water under, no worries. Next news cycle, it's not a big story. Next news cycle, it's not a big story.
But what does it say? It says that they're serious enough to kill you. Absolutely they are. Gonzalo Lira got murdered in Ukrainian prison. This, of course, run by the State Department and CIA, basically killed by the Biden administration. No big deal.
Well, I mean, at least
he's an American citizen.
But at least the confidence comes the fact that never in the history of U.S. has the government ever assassinated a president. So it's not like that kind of a person who's a very ambitious vice president would never do that to become a president historically, and within minutes want to be sworn in. It
sounds like a dangerous conspiracy theory to me. So let me ask you though, it's pretty clear to me that 2 summers ago, so August 2022, when that deadly force raid on Mar-a-Lago took place and they rooted through the former First Lady's underwear, that was the moment when Trump kind of came back. Like DeSantis was done. This is my read on it. Mm-hmm. The more they persecute Trump unfairly, the more transparently grotesque and corrupt it is, the stronger Trump becomes. I mean, I think it seems pretty obvious. There's been polling on this. Do you think the people who did it knew that would happen? Like how much of this did they think through?
No, I don't. I actually don't think they thought it would happen. I think they think it's working. And now it's too late. Michael Cohen, did you steal from the Trump organization? Yes, sir, I did. What? Yeah, I did. Holy shit. So now somebody on CNN has to say, it's over for this guy, right?
Yeah.
So this is another reason why sometimes when people are, we're going to sue those guys, go ahead and do it. Then comes discovery. You got to also give me your discovery, right? Meaning, so
of course,
when you're suing, I want to see your discovery. Give me your discovery. Let's go through it. You're suing me? Great. Let's go through it. I want to see discovery on text exchange, email exchange. Oh, shit. No, we don't want to do that. Well, but that's how lawsuits work. I want also discovery, right? So now it's backfiring.
So anyways, Joe Biden probably is taking some type of Alzheimer drugs or whatever. I mean, you got to start to question, what's going on there. But it's such a petty topic. I feel like it's just like punching a horse that's already been punched down enough. It's like, man.
And everybody knows it. I mean, it's like at this point, why even bring it up? Because everybody knows, and then if you say anything, you're everybody calls you crazy or whatever, but we know what's the truth. He can't do that by himself.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way. Yes, he can. Just kidding.
Here's an interesting thing that caught my attention.
What?
Sorry.
You had to slip it in there, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
This is a post showing some underwater activity. It's my opinion that the Antarctica Anomaly is a frequency technology and is responsible for heating the Atlantic Ocean ahead of this very intense Atlantic hurricane season. The catastrophic weather in Africa and Brazil each time this happened. And so you can see on these charts like this massive, like what looks like a man-made dispersion of energy or something in the water. Here's a little bit of a closer look. And so breaking
Star Trek?
news, I knew it's Star Trek technology, that's for sure. A new anomaly has been detected for the 4th time, generating huge waves leaving the Antarctic territory towards the Atlantic zone. What will it be now? Well, we don't know what this is exactly, but when I see things like this on these radars, showing this thing that looks like a manifested directed energy weapon or something, man, it just really gets my imagination going about what they're trying to cause.
Yep.
And just recently we've had some major tornadoes. Literally
yeah.
last week, and just a few days ago, some huge tornadoes coming through, and just, it makes me wonder how much of those weather patterns can be created. And we have HARP and all these different elements that are now being fully admitted that they are modifying the weather. And so when we have cataclysmic, terrible weather patterns that destroy people's lives, you got to ask the question, did somebody click the on button?
Right.
On, right?
Right. And we have 5 people die here in my area, like a couple towns down. Like it was real bad. And I watched it on the radar develop from nothing to something twice, 2 days in a row. And the second day was scarier than the first day, even though the first day was the tornado. But it was the weirdest thing. It literally looked like it just started forming. And then you could see, I saw one of the tornadoes on the map before the people that are on the TV say, and I was like, oh my gosh, there are 2 tornadoes. But they're both coming. They just hadn't landed yet. But yeah, rest in peace, 5 people.
Oh yeah, we had Kentucky just like a little short drive from where Sierra and I live, hit by an F5 and just totally destroyed. My father and sister went and set up a little hot dog booth, giving hot dogs out to people, helping clean up.
That's cool.
But yeah, man, it's just really interesting. Now, last week, in another note, we shared about the Baphomet picture that was revealed. Mr. Charles, King Charles, sharing his new official portrait, and this is him pulling it down and showing everybody. And I saw some other iterations of a mirrored image of this painting, and it's even more compelling that they're hiding some kind of demonic crap in this stuff. But he's like, oh, here's my painting, everyone. Well, guess what? Dun, dun, dun! You flip it upside down, and you get the Baphomet face and the horns. And
look how beautiful I am,
so
everybody.
crazy.
Yeah, that
I'm
is insane.
called the Red Dragon, the defender of faiths, plural, because there's many ways to God, just as long as you come through Satan,
Yeah. Paint me as if I was in hell, please.
just like this. This is
Exactly.
some of the color tones changed, and you can see some other really freaky, like,
What
demonic
the heck?
looking faces in there. But I will say you can make pretty much anything when you mirror images and you put it together. But the role of the King of England has to be considered in his influence on the world stage. And he's supposedly the Red Dragon, and now that he has stepped into this role after waiting for his mama to kick the bucket, and now boom, he's here. I am paying attention to decisions and steps that the monarchy is taking, because you see that there is kind of a heart tie between the British crown and all of the nations across the world that were colonized by the British during the British Empire days. And you see a lot of culture, a lot of mindset, a lot of political agendas trickle down, and they generally start there in Britain, and then in waves reach to the colonized areas of the world that the British had under their rule. And I think it's because there's a kind of an authority structure that, while they relinquish control, still manifests and exists. And so, if you got some guy who's a Satanist, Baphomet worshiper, head of the Anglican Church, whatever, it is somebody that is on my radar. But whatever, it's just a painting. So I thought I wanted to share this with you, Jeremiah. I found a article that breaks down JFK and his possible, relationship with his gay friend.
What?
So this is JFK and his bromance with the his prep school buddy. So people wonder, could JFK have actually been a floozy sodomite? Well, looking at these pictures, man, with his gay friend, and how his hands around his stomach like that. And
Look,
how
Jake,
they-
I love you, but I would never do that with you. Okay, I'm just saying, like,
I know, right?
it's
our
insane.
bromance is not that strong.
No.
Oh man. So I know we've talked about it in previous episodes where you covered JFK, and I'm like, hey man, have you ever looked into this topic that JFK could, have been a sodomite? But yeah.
Maybe
I
he had
found this,
cats because apparently cats turn you gay. No, I'm just kidding. It's an
Hey,
old
man,
joke.
it's
It's an
those-
old joke.
It's those worms in the poop. They make you just love cats or
Yes.
love men apparently. But go through people who struggle with those issues need to go through a parasite cleanse. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Oh man.
JFK Gay.
All right.
for sure.
JFK Gay. Check. Watch out. Anyways, let's get into some other very compelling videos. Check this one. It doesn't matter your political affiliation. Allegedly?
It doesn't matter your political affiliation, your socioeconomic background, your education level. We all agreed that the second we heard the news about that Boeing whistleblower, all of us were like, that man did not kill himself, okay? There is absolutely no way somebody at Boeing or the company itself had to have had something to do with that shit. That man was a whistleblower in the middle of a trial. He is in the middle of a trial where he is a key witness. And halfway through his testimony, you want us to believe he went back to his hotel, sat in his truck in the parking lot and thought, I'm done. No, absolutely not. Even the hitman, when they were hiring that hitman, had to have been like, Boeing, have you guys not heard of the Streisand effect? Have you not heard that when you want the internet to not know about something is when the internet gets extremely into knowing about something? And this is, remind you, this is just a couple of months, right? After we had that whole thing with the Boeing 737 with Alaska Airlines, right? And Elon Musk and all his weird racist buddies tried covering it up by being like, this is DEI's fault. Meanwhile, there's a whistleblower. It's like, no, they were using defective parts. And now the whistleblower is the one who's going? No, does not matter. It does not matter. I don't care how many septum piercings or red hats you have. Left, right, center, up, down, we all agree. The Boeing whistleblower did not kill himself. I don't care what they claim they find. That man was not, no.
Okay, for entertainment purposes only, of course, right? Here's one breaking down the role of cancer and tumors in a very interesting way and how the body uses them to collect toxins. So I thought this was a very interesting kind of breakdown of this gentleman. Check this out.
And tumors are good for you when the body has a bunch of toxins in them. Yes, it is. Now,
how long should these cancer and tumors last?
Until you eradicate all the toxins out of the body. We get rid of tumors all the time. I'm here. I mean, they know this. I'm here all the time. We get rid of tumors all the time, and the body gets rid of cancer all the time. I'm not a healer. I just help facilitate the healing. The body is a healer. I'll be ingenuous. I'll be disingenuous, and I will be on a high horse to say that I heal the body of anything. No, you have the power. Your body heals itself, and you can do this without buying herbs from me. That's how. It's not about the money. I'm a millionaire. It's not about the money. It's showing you who you are and the capabilities that the creator gave you. A tumor. So for instance, if you're constantly eating foods that you're not supposed to be eating, whenever you eat these foods get broken down and get delivered to the cell. When the foods get broken down and get delivered to the cells eat these foods on a micro level. Well, just like you have to defecate and go to the toilet, your cells defecate. They just don't have legs and they're floating on an interstitial fluid called lymphatic fluid, so they poop on top of them cells. Well, what's supposed to happen is the lymphatic fluid goes through the body and it picks up all of the metabolic waste from the cells and take it to lymph nodes. When it goes to the lymph nodes, you have macrophages and bacteria that breaks this food down. When you break this food down, these foods turn into acid. So they got to go through these lymph vessels, go to the kidneys, and then you urine it out through something called urea. That's what your metabolic waste break down to, potentially urea and creatinine, and then you urinate it out, right? So this is the crazy thing about this, right? If the food you're eating is mucus forming and is acidic forming, they start to burn the cell. When they burn the cells, it messes up the integrity of the cells, and then it starts sucking the oxygen out of the cells. So the cells are made to go in an anaerobic state. Anaerobic mean without oxygen. Aerobic mean with oxygen. So whenever the body goes through a stage where they have to proliferate, or if they have to survive without oxygen, something sets in. It's called mutation. These are your 4 stages of detoxification, but the actual allopathic community would tell you that it's the 4 stages to disease. The first one is deficiency. So whenever you're deficient of minerals, whenever you're deficient of amino acids, or whenever you're deficient of oxygen, the next thing that sets in is actually adaptation. So since I'm deficient and my body is a healing mechanism, I'm going to adapt to my environment for I can live longer, right? So what's going to happen in the cancer stage? I need to adapt. All right, I'm not getting enough oxygen. Well, let me create these parasites. Let me create these anaerobic lactic acid so I can live without the oxygen. And I'm just going to start gathering all these cells up and putting them in a bag. And then I'm going to steal blood supply called angiogenesis. Now I got my own blood supply, plus I'm getting rid of all the trash. So now we actually see adaptation to the cells. Well, since the cells have to adapt, now they have to mutate to survive. So we have deficiency, we have adaptation, then we have mutation. Now that's what they say the cells, malignant cells, because they mutated. They don't look the same no more. They shouldn't look the same. It had to change to live in the environment. These are hard healing steps. Then once they go through its mutation state, then major detoxification sets in. And this is where you start seeing symptomologies of cold and flu-like symptoms, coughing, sneezing, fever, inflammation, redness, swelling, and pain. Everything, all them symptoms I just said is a symptomology of a tumor. So is the tumor there to kill you? No, it's there to help you. Now, could a tumor can kill you? Yes, it can if it blocks blood flow. But anything can block blood flow. A traumatic experience, getting in a car accident, can block blood flow that you can die of. So we can't blame it on that. It's kind of like you see me. A bank get robbed every week. Every week you see the bank get robbed. You see Yaki there. And the first thing you're going to say, that nigga Yaki have to be the robber. Because every time a bank get robbed, he's there. What happened if I'm there trying to save the bank from being robbed because I know the information and I know where they're going at next? That's the same thing that's happening with disease. We're blaming things on germs. We're blaming things on viruses. We're blaming things on all of this because every time you see the corruption or you see the evil standing of these things, you see something associated with it. But we never changed the perspective because we stuck in a European mindset and stepped outside the box and looked at it in a different way. Oh, every time I see Yaki at the bank when the bank is being robbed because he's trying to stop the robbers. Same thing with the parasites. They're trying to stop the robbers from the deficiency orders. Same thing with the bacteria, or what we call these pleomorphic microbiotas that's in the body. They're trying to stop the issue. Whenever you see acids in the body, you're going to see a bunch of bacteria because bacteria is in the body to eat acids. It's supposed to keep everything at homeostasis. So the first thing they're going to say is you have a bacterial what? Infection. You're not infected with anything. The bacteria culturalized and overpopulated themselves for they can have enough people to eat the acids, because if these acids stay on the cells too long, you will go into an anaerobic state, and then the last stage of detoxification will kick in, which is what? Deficiency, adaptation, mutation. You see that? And then now you're creating cancer. We are too busy blaming the things in our body that's trying to heal our body as the actual criminals, when the real criminals is the things that we've been putting in our mouths, or the pollutants that they putting in the air, or the contaminants that they putting in the water, or the sun blocking technology they got right now, or the actual nanobot technology they giving us through penetrating our skins and delivering certain types of things, to the GMOs. To all these other different things. We're not looking outside of ourselves and blaming the real issue. Our real issue is discipline. Our real issue is the love for oneself. Our real issue is the lack of communication with ourselves. People don't even talk to their bodies. Have you ever talked to your body?
Yeah.
See,
I'm an athlete though.
Hashtag the more you know, right? Well, you know, this is struck pretty close to home. We have some friends and family that are struggling with cancer, and so, it's interesting to look at this topic and the medical industry, how it really ravages the body, sometimes unnecessarily, when really we have all these toxins and things in our body from the things that they dish out to us as okay, and our body is just naturally reacting, and and then they put us through the whole medical system in a way that can destroy our lives. And So, I find value in some of that alternative perspective. Here's another video, which is when they admit NASA faked it. Check it out.
That we are living in an insane asylum. Look at this movie coming out this summer. Just look at it.
How's that? What? The whole world will be watching. We can't afford to lose to the Russians. We need to shoot the backup version of the moon landing.
You mean to fake it? No one can ever know what we're doing.
I cannot accept that.
They will shoot you.
What is my budget?
Oh, boy.
I know a lot more about the moon than I know about you. Give me go, no go for launch. If you fake this mission, every single thing that we have sacrificed will have been for nothing.
You know you couldn't have made it to this day without me.
4, 3, 2, 1.
My Armstrong is a whiny little bitch. We have to recast.
I think we should have gotten Kubrick.
Only a few days ago, I posted about this. It's just a mockery at this point. It's an open mockery. They know that enough people are already aware that all of those landings were staged and faked. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know who were asking, have you seen this trailer? Yeah, I've seen the trailer.
Well, here's some more proofs how flights prove the Earth is not as we've been told.
Prove that the Earth is not a ball. This is the World Cup soccer. Oh. Okay? They were in Doha. They wanted to go back to Buenos Aires. They went to Rome to refuel, and then they went back there. Why didn't they just go here? Because if they did, there's no place to refuel out here. On a flat Earth, Doha, Rome, Buenos Aires. Taiwan to Los Angeles. They had an emergency right about here. Well, where would you land? Well, you could go to Hawaii. I might as well go to Los Angeles. Instead, they went all the way to Alaska. Okay?
Flat Earth.
Right? Flat Earth, Taiwan, Alaska, Los Angeles.
Ooh.
Okay. So, here's an emergency. They were going from New York to Hawaii, right about here, and they said, we have to land. So they went to Seattle, which is like 1,000 miles out of the way. They got there in record time. New York, Seattle, Hawaii. Southern flights prove that the Earth is not a ball.
Now that gentleman's called David Weiss of Down into the Rabbit Hole. He was a big influence on Owen Benjamin coming into the realm view of the Earth and challenging, as we've been taught, of the monkey spaceball religion. So I have a lot of respect for Dave. I interacted with him a few times over the years at the conferences. I think he's a pretty cool guy. Now that I've covered this topic, you can handle a little clip from Elon Musk. Check this video out.
I mean, we do get into some existential questions here. In a benign scenario, we probably none of us will have a job. There will be, but in that benign scenario, there will be universal high income, not universal basic income, universal high income. There will be no shortage of goods or services. And I think the benign scenario is the most likely scenario, probably, 80% likely if you ask, in my opinion. The question will not be one of lacking goods or services. You'll have, everyone will have access to as much in the way of goods and services as they would like. The question will really be one of meaning, of how, if the computer can do, and the robots can do everything better than you, then does your life have meaning? That's really what will be the question in the benign scenario. And in the negative scenario, well, bets are off. We're in deep trouble. So I do think there's perhaps still a role for humans in that we may give AI meaning. Well, I mean, we do get into some existential questions here. In a benign scenario, we probably none of us will have a job. There will be, but in that benign scenario, there will be universal high income, not universal basic income, universal high income. There will be no shortage of goods or services. And I think the benign scenario is the most likely scenario, probably, 80% likely if you ask, in my opinion. The question will not be one of lacking goods or services. You'll have, everyone will have access to as much in the way of goods and services as they would like.
That was a post from Telecaster Bear, who interviewed us on the Hanging with the Bears show. Here's another clip that I thought was very interesting, and it reminds me of that Terrence interview on Joe Rogan, but it's how these realms are cyclical and connected, and as you go from one to the other, you eventually come back to the philosophy of how the world works. Check this clip out.
That's applied becomes mathematics. Applied mathematics becomes geometry. If applied philosophy is mathematics, then applied mathematics is geometry. Geometry is simply the music that we experience with our eyes. And applied geometry becomes physics. And applied physics becomes chemistry. And applied chemistry becomes biology. And applied biology becomes psychology. And applied psychology becomes sociology. And applied sociology becomes philosophy. It's a big circle. Each one is just a different perspective or angle or angel of looking at this one truth.
19 key. Looking at the world from a different perspective is very interesting. Here's another clip talking about why life insurance companies happen to be so powerful. Watch this.
When did you feel the need to not only do it for yourself, but spread the good news to everybody?
So, I went to undergraduate for biology, and I went to graduate school for human biology. So I got a second degree in the biology of human beings. And then I went to work in the life insurance industry. And I worked in a very special division of life insurance, which was the mortality division. And the thing about life insurance and a lot of other financial services instruments, you would not believe how many tens of billions of dollars of financial services instruments every year are issued based on when people are going to die. Reverse mortgages, annuities, life insurance. This is all based on when people are going to die. If I'm a life insurance company and I'm about to put $25 million of risk on your life, only one thing matters. And so we got very, very good at looking at medical records and determining how many more months you had left on Earth. And I was brainwashed for years into just thinking that this was data. Right? These were just spreadsheets. I had nothing to do with putting the person in this position. It wasn't my responsibility to get them out of this position. It was my responsibility to predict when they were going to die.
But a lot of insurance companies, they might turn a person down if they feel like, well, you're only going to be here another 2 years. Ain't no point to take that small amount for that high payout at the end of the 2 years, right?
100%. I mean, you want to know where, where life insurance, you want to know where health trends are going. Watch what life insurance companies do. Look at the way that people are being table rated now for multiple vaccinations and multiple vaccine boosters.
Yeah.
You can say what you want, but if you got multiple boosters in your medical record, you are being table rated. They will charge you more for your life insurance policy.
Wow.
We knew about, we had data. Remember, life insurance companies have data that no other company has. No other financial services company has. No other university, no clinical study, not even the federal government. They know the day, the date, the time, the location, and the cause of death for 370 million lives. And on the day you die, they also have all your medical records. They know your blood work. They know your genetics. So now they can triangulate that back into the medical record. So we knew. I will tell you that the database that I had access to for 20 years and that I used to predict mortality, if that database could see the light of day, it would permanently change the face of humanity. It would upend modern medicine in a way that would be catastrophic. And that's why it'll never see the light of day, because the truth about what's going on in humanity, chemicals, synthetics, pharmaceuticals, is in that database. We knew, for example, that take the African American population, 85% of the African American population is clinically deficient in vitamin D3. This is the single most important nutrient in the human body. When you're deficient in vitamin D3, you're...
All right, so that's all the videos for this week, Jeremiah. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Jake, for another great current news as always. And now I'd like to show you guys our upgrade on BabylonRisingBooks.com.
Check out our new and improved BabylonRisingBooks.com, where you can get Rob Skiba's books, bundles, DVDs, DVD-ROMs, videos, and so much more. You can even get Sheila and Jeremiah's books, so check it out now.
So check it out now. It's new and improved, and it's about that time for all new Opa's Corner. Take it away, Opa.
Hat mein Hut und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
The strange, the bizarre, the unexpected. These are the kinds of subjects a man named Robert L. Ripley challenged us to believe it or not.
Believe it or not, you.
Wally, believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Believe it! You're a loony.
Did you know 500,000 cats were dispatched to the trenches during World War I to keep the rodent numbers down and act as early warning detectors for mustard gas?
Heroes.
Believe it or not. You can actually die laughing, and a number of people have, typically due to intense laughter causing a heart attack or suffocation. Comedy shows should come out with a warning. Believe it or not. Did you know that trees can communicate? Yep, trees talk. Their roots are connected through an underground network of fungi, nicknamed the Wood Wide Web, that allows them to share resources with each other. They talk by transmitting nutrients to one another through the fungi. For instance, a mother tree, or oldest and strongest tree in the forest, will share some of her sugars with smaller nearby trees. Believe it or not. Did you know that Elvis didn't write Blue Suede Shoes?
Carl Perkins.
Instead, the pioneer of rockabilly music, Carl Perkins, wrote the illustrious song that sold 2 million copies before Presley covered it. Perkins wrote the song on an old potato sack. Believe it.
That one's true.
Or not. Did you know before 1920, some people used to send children in the mail? Because postage was cheaper than a train ticket, according to Smithsonian. Some frugal parents chose this option. Newspapers ran amusing headlines such as "Baby by Parcel Post" and "Parcel Post Baby Makes Trip Along the L&E Railroad." That's definitely among the craziest things that people have ever shipped. Believe it or not. Do you know why we yawn? The most popular, but likely wrong, theory is that yawning increases levels of oxygen to the brain. A more plausible theory Yawning cools the brain down. A study conducted on mice found that as mice sucked in air, their jaws stretched. This increases blood flow to the brain. This combination of cooler air intake when yawning mixed with the blood flowing to the brain is thought to eventually cool the brain down. Believe it or not. Did you know that a hippo's jaw opens wide enough to fit a sports car inside? Believe it or not. Every 4 minutes and 13 seconds, enough wool is produced around the world to make a jumper big enough for the Statue of Liberty to wear. Believe it or not. In a group of 23 people, there are more than 50% chance that 2 of them share a birthday. With a group of 57 people, there's a 99.01% probability, and for 70 people, the probability is 99.92%. Believe it or not. Elephants are the only mammal that can't jump. Due to their size and body structure, elephants are physically incapable of lifting all 4 feet off the ground at the same time, making it impossible for them to jump. Their powerful legs are designed for stability and walking long distances. Believe it or not. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. Honey has natural preservatives like low water content and high acidity, which makes it resistant to spoilage. Believe it or not. Do you know why our skin gets wrinkly in the water? After about 5 minutes in the bathtub, you begin to notice tiny wrinkles are forming on your hands and feet. Why is that? Researchers speculate that it's the body's biological way of getting a grip when in a slippery condition. And they found that the specific ways that human skin wrinkles are similar to river drainage systems. Wow. Believe it or not. Did you know that hippos and horses are actually distant relatives? Believe it or not. Parts of the Great Wall of China were made with sticky rice. Believe it or not. Don't let the chickens cross the road in Georgia, the country. Nope, seriously, it's illegal. Believe it or not. Why did the old man fall down the well? He couldn't see that well. Two windmills were sitting on a hill. One asked the other, "Do you have a favorite song?" The other replies, "Well, all my life I've been a heavy metal fan." Today at the bank, an old lady asked me to check her balance. So I pushed her over. How many stormtroopers does it take to change a light bulb? None, because they're all on the dark side.
Oh, who's booing?
If your house is cold, just stand in the corner. It's always 90 degrees there. Hi, I'm Cliff. Drop over sometime. Have you heard about the kidnapping at school? It's okay. She woke up. I found a book called How to Solve 50% of Your Problems. So I bought 2. I stayed up all night wondering where the sun went, and then it dawned on me. Why do people who live in Greece hate waking up at dawn? Because dawn is tough on Greece.
That's a good one.
What did Elvis say to his landscaper? Thank you very much. How do you make Budweiser? Just send him to school. What do a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common? They're both parasites. If a child refuses to nap, are they guilty of resisting arrest? If you see a crime at an Apple store, does that make you an eyewitness?
Probably.
Good evening, and now for OPA'S Corner Weekly Fake News. Television executives have announced a daring new reality show concept that challenges contestants to do absolutely nothing in survival of the laziest. Participants will compete to see who can nap for the longest duration without being disturbed, with the winner receiving a lifetime supply of pillows and blankets. In other news, in a shocking turn of events, scientists have confirmed that the Earth's rotation has slowed down due to the widespread use of selfie sticks. The gravitational pull caused by the collective weight of extended selfie sticks has altered the planet's angular momentum, leading to longer days and perplexed astronomers.
Something's flat.
Office workers and email enthusiasts were sent into a frenzy today as reports flooded in about the mysterious disappearance of the Reply All button from all major email platforms. Chaos ensued as colleagues were unable to flood inboxes with unnecessary responses, memes, and accidental mass communications. IT departments were overwhelmed with requests for the return of the beloved button, with some employees resorting to carrier pigeons for urgent updates. In a bid for transparency and fundraising innovation, Congress has proposed a bill requiring politicians to wear NASCAR-style sponsorship logos on their suits during official events. The move aims to provide voters with a clear understanding of corporate influences while offering companies prime advertising space on prominent political figures. In a bid to inject fun into the economy, the Federal Reserve has introduced monopoly money as a new official currency, promising endless inflation-free entertainment for all. Citizens can now exchange real dollars for colorful Monopoly bills to play games, simulate wealth, and experience the joys of financial fantasy without real-world consequences. And that's the way it wasn't. Thank you for watching OPA'S Corner Weekly Fake News. Squirrel graduation rehearsal.
When I call your name, scamper up to the middle of the stage, dart back to the line, then scurry across the stage and grab your diploma.
A, I think. Therefore, A, I am. Happy birthday, Ed. Ah! Well, one thing's for sure. He was definitely surprised. Farming will always have the tractors. And the cows.
And the horses. And the chickens.
Army ants! Harry Elefante.
Oh.
Dumbo. Dumbo. Dumbo, come and me wanna go home.
That's fun.
You said to be dressed to kill. Well, I'm ready. You are always here. Squabble.
Are you done playing Jaws with my rubber ducky?
The cell phone that never had poor reception. And other fairy tales. Obscene duck call. How long have you felt like a man trapped in the body of an alligator?
I'd say ever since he ate me. Enjoy the park. Remember, this paw stamp gives you in and out, and in and out, and in and out privileges.
That's a good one.
Ah! There goes another batch of eggs, Frank! No wonder this nest was such a deal! Relax. It's only a brush with death. My fellow graduates, this is the first day of the rest of our 9 lives. Well, that would certainly explain why he let 3 of us on board. Air and Space Museum. I guess I expected more. Hazcat suits.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Dog karaoke. Don't go chasing waterfowl. Please stick to the pigeons and the squirrels that you're used to. It's the turkeys versus the ducks. Brace yourself, Jimmy. We're gonna see a lot of foul play. I hate this guy. Really? Did you really buy us sheets with a thread count of 1? Hmm. 2 birds, 1 stone. Yep. This has all the telltale signs of the cliché killer, all right.
That's fun.
You don't look like your pigs. That was Tuesday. Christopher, pause. When you get caught between the Roomba and the love seat. I know it's crazy, but it's true. When you get caught between the Roomba and the love seat, the best that you can do, the best that you can do is lick your butt.
Yeah, that's true.
This is Michelle. She's a ballerina. Wave the stick until the music stops. Then turn around and bow.
I was wondering what they were looking at.
Doris, you know those guys we hired to paint our house?
Our unmanned camera clocked your vehicle 20 miles per hour over the limit.
My driverless car pleads not guilty.
We'll see the baby in a minute. Your plan doesn't cover the ad-free version. Drink Bunny Cola.
Yeah, everything now.
Barney did not age well. And that
I want it.
concludes another OPA'S Corner.
Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
OPA'S Corner is now available on my own YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe.
Everybody show Opa some love and go subscribe to his YouTube channel. It'll be in the description as always. And thank you, Opa. Now a word from our good friend, JJ. Are you tired of living in constant pain? Do you feel like you've tried every CBD product on the market with no relief? Look no further than JJ's Natural CBD Rub. When I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease, this was the only product that completely took my pain away. Working with JJ has been a dream come true, and his products have completely changed my life. Don't just take my word for it. Visit JJ's website, jjcbdrub.com, and read hundreds of testimonials from people whose lives have been changed by all of JJ's amazing products. And now, as a Skiba News Nation exclusive, you can get $50 off a 3-pack special of JJ's Natural CBD Rub by texting CBD to 920-382-7720. Don't suffer in silence any longer. Take control of your pain today with JJ's Natural CBD Rub. Again, text CBD to 920-382-7720 for an exclusive discount and start feeling the relief you deserve. The links are in the description below.
Beautiful, handcrafted Zeet Seats by Sierra Grant. What is the OG WWJD? It's wearing fringes on your garments. In accordance to Numbers chapter 15, verse 38 through 40. Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put a cord of blue in it.
All right, it's time for History's Mysteries. So for this one, I actually went on scene. So it's a very special History's Mystery segment today because for my birthday, my beautiful fiance told me that we were going to Glen, Texas to film something really cool. I don't want to give too much away, but did you know that there are allegedly dino tracks and Nephilim footprints and they were made at the same time? Check out our adventure. Hey guys, we're here at the, what is this place called?
The Creation Evidence Museum.
And you're wearing an appropriate t-shirt. Flat Earth. Always
So
going in with
have
Flat
different
Earth.
religious views than we do, which is okay. It's okay to learn from different people. No pets allowed.
Alright, so we're inside. What is the chamber called? The Chamber of Secrets. Really cool. So far, it's maybe one of the coolest museums we've been in. Oh, somebody has the same name as me. Yes. I thought they were calling me.
They're not talking to me. That'd be awkward.
It's called a Judas Bible. And the typesetter changed Jesus to Judas. It's weird.
Lots of collection of weird stuff, I must add.
Set up, so.
Oh my gosh, look at that. The smallest Bible ever published. The entire King James print on a single page.
And then what is this? Down here? Here's the reader. So that's a human handprint, I'm guessing. Oh my gosh.
Look at that footprint.
Whoa.
That's just one of many footprints. And those are supposed to be soles, I think, to a shoe. That's the one. There's another one.
See?
So you can tell they're kind of from the same time period because it's like right over the other one. Maybe the other one dried, and I don't really know how fossils work, but they found them in the same excavation site. And feel free to pause it in the if you want to read any of the stuff in the cards if you want.
Fossilized human finger.
Fossilized human finger.
Whoa.
There's the satyr.
What do you guys think? Bigfoot or Nephilim?
What do you think, Jake? Bigfoot or Nephilim? Right here.
Oh, either Bigfoot or a big guy. I don't know. Definitely, I think it could be Nephilim.
Yeah, you can kind of see the... Right there.
Giant man tracks or burrows.
I mean, that is huge. I kept going back to several things because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy that I'm seeing this right now.
Like soles of a sandal.
Paluxy River. And then this was showing like dinosaurs or something like dinosaurs and like ancient
Pictures of other architecture.
yeah, and other architecture and stuff.
Those are weird.
But if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think they looked anything like what we think they look like.
There's the Stegosaurus thing.
Yep.
I think they have feathers. I mean, it looks, if you look at a bird and look at the skeleton, it looks like a bird to me, but I could be wrong. But so could they. Look at this one. That's crazy. It's like a bat.
What is that?
It's a Batasaurus shrixus. Those are saber-toothed tigers. That one blew my mind. Look at that
I would
paw
hate to
print.
meet that thing.
I'd domesticate him and then make him my friend, and then he'd eat me alive. But it's so big, I told Lynsi to put her hand up to it.
Not your average house cat. Put your hand next to it.
They don't have the claws because
They were declawed.
track them.
They were declawed.
But you can establish like Linnaeus, establish that discipline, and they were creationists who believed in the Bible.
Yeah, they had a constant DVD on loop talking about their religion and stuff. And Lynsi will actually describe what they believe about the Earth and stuff when we go upstairs. But look at this.
If you were to Google,
This guy was one of the tallest men. Wasn't Robert Wadlow, but was similar in height.
How do you explain the existence
Look at that
of coal?
shoe.
Very quickly, they say there has to be cellulose
film.
plant
That's
material
Leanne.
that falls in water, but the water has to be acidic. It has to be under the surface of the water, otherwise it'll rot or biodegrade. It has to fall in acidic water next to clay, and to get these conditions, when you have thousands, sometimes thousands of miles of shelves in acidic waters adjacent to clay,
Wall of
building up
shame.
pressure.
I do like that, the wall of shame, showing that evolution is not real. I had to show it again. I mean, look at that thing.
Whoa.
And there were so many people that were like looking at that. So every time I get close, I kind of put my phone or my camera over it, and then I pull it back. And
The pink is the
this is what they
firmament,
believe.
But their interpretation of the word firmament is that it is a electromagnetic field. That's how they translate the word Rekia,
Interesting.
if I'm saying that right, from Genesis. This right here would be day 3 and 4, where we're now getting the core of the earth and the different layers of a globe, as well as land. You see more prominent firmament. You've got a moon up there as well. And then we move into day 5 and day 6, where we have animals and humans living with dinosaurs. They believe the word behemoth in Genesis is to be translated as dinosaurs. So for like the scripture, behold now behemoth which I made with thee. So he made the behemoth with the human. And notice that there's not a lot of water on that. And then we have the global flood. So this is around the time of Noah, where they believe water came up from the inside of the earth and flooded the land. Steam.
Atomic bombs.
No. And flooded the earth. And there's Noah in his little ark in the storm. And then we have the Ice Age. So the years after the flood, where the earth is hardening, separating, drying out. And notice that the firmament is now like, it's not that pink line. It's like more broad and open. And you have like the shifting of tides and shifting of continents, and things are moving, and it's like chaos, and the firmament's like breaking apart. Then you have the tribulation period, where that chaotic firmament is now being redesigned and closing back after these horrible earthquakes and times of tribulation. And like here's it like breaking the firmament is like isn't being broken, but then it's like showing that it's gonna come back together and then create a millennial kingdom with like that pink solid firmament. And it goes back to the times of peace and how
That's
it
really
was
interesting.
before the flood.
Yeah.
Key dinosaurs are going to come back because they can now live peacefully with humans again, and all is good. And then finally we've got the new earth of eternity, future. This is how God intended the world to be, they say, and you don't see oceans God did not intend large oceans, just like streams and lakes, mostly land. Yeah.
And that's a Mandela effect right there, the lion shutting down.
Ah, I even caught one.
It's a wolf.
Nice, nice.
Now, what we're about to show is very cool because they have one, I believe, in Branson, Missouri. The replica of the thing, but this is a scale model
There is one, I believe,
of
in
what the Ark
Branson or
looked like, apparently.
We got elephants with woolly mammoths.
Y'all would like to come out to Kentucky to the Ark encounter. It's super cool to walk around.
Or is that where it is?
Prehistoric creatures.
They might be the same. Do they believe in dinosaurs?
With
polar bears.
Yeah. It's the.
Wonder how they kept it clean.
In Kentucky, they have this creation museum thing, and then they also built this giant recreation of the Ark. It's like a real life Ark, real size Ark. It's really cool.
On the upper deck, separated
Very
from
cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
the modern animals that we know of. Farm animals is how I would describe them. Ranch animals.
I mean, it made sense.
We have a section
The
for the
why they
humans
picked, why they
up
did it.
top for eating. We've got a third layer, and then deep down under here, we've got like forest animals. We've got several layers.
I bet it was stinky though.
You can even see through the
I
floor, you
mean,
can see an even
all those
deeper
animals.
layer.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of dinosaurs going
For
on
sure,
here.
for sure.
Looks like some raptors.
So that was some dedication right there.
Here's some Triceratops and Stegosauruses.
I love little miniature sets like that. I was
Dude,
so
me too.
fascinated to look at those.
That's why I want to make a Branch Davidian compound, but a miniature, because I think it'd be fascinating to see what it looked like.
Oh
'cause-
wow, that would be interesting.
So if you help me do that, man,
It said that they
I could do something cool with it.
dinosaurs.
I don't know if I'm the guy for making it. I'm not that skilled in that area, but I definitely would love to, you know.
Anybody out
geek out
there,
on it.
if you guys could make me a scale model, I have the blueprints.
So now we've got just some animals, some forest animals. I like how they get an individual spotlight for some reason. We've got some zoo animals down here. We saw a few of these at Fossil
And we saw some of
Rim.
those back there.
Which I'm gonna have to share later. Our trip of Fossil Rim where I feed a giraffe.
Okay, here's food storage.
Still working on that one.
And then we've got this giant room specifically for 3 snakes and a cat in a bag.
That cat better kill that snake.
Specifically for pots.
Oh, not pots.
I said sorry, JJ. I forgot I said that. No pot. Only pots.
This is an egg-shaped container that would have been storing their water and circulating and keeping the water fresh aboard the ship. Almost like a water tower, I would think.
Water wheel.
A big reservoir of fresh water.
And I believe it's this next section
Under the Ark. I'm sure that was a rule back then.
is going to
That would, like,
make you
pump
laugh.
out, and then they could run like little
Made me laugh.
pipes
Wooden
through to the
pipes.
animals and stuff.
Today's my birthday. I'm an oldie. It's called autism. So, yeah. They believe in NASA and stuff, and they had a moon rock and stuff. And I was like, super weird to have in this place. Has nothing to do with what your rest of your museum is, but okay, whatever floats your boat, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that, you know, I mean, they definitely had some good things that I do think are true.
That looks
but,
like
you know, like a little shrine to a rocket.
Yeah. But it's like, why in that museum? You know, like, have like a side building. And like there's like a little car over there, like an old-timey Model T. We were like, what was the point? Because Lynsi went there as a kid, and the thing is, it was half the size. It was a tiny, tiny building. So what they did was they left that tiny building, and then they just got that tiny building, and then they made it as like same floor plan, but just bigger. And they had that big chamber in there and everything. And some lady will come and she'll tell you about everything. But yeah, so that was the Creation Museum. If you guys are ever in Glen Rose, Texas, I say it is well worth the trip. But I do have one more Glen Rose thing, and I thank my beautiful girlfriend Lynsi for getting in the water to film these dino tracks for you guys. So check this out. And of course I put some cool music to it. Some of them you can see really well, some of them look kind of smudged.
Whoa. You can make it out for sure.
Aren't those crazy? That one right there, oh my gosh, perfect. There was a snake in that water too, and she still went out there. Just for you guys.
Wow.
That's how much she loves the Skiba News Nation family. Woo!
Yes.
How big that one is.
Oh, in the field reporting.
Yeah. Some of them are like triangles, but you can kind of see the toe, so I don't really know what kind, like I don't know that, I was never good with dinosaurs. I know I picked the right woman for me when every time we go on vacation, she says, we gotta find something to film if we're gonna go there. That's awesome, okay? I'm the luckiest guy in the world. So that's all we got for the Glen Rose trip. But I have one more clip for you guys because you guys liked Pranking the Scammers so much last week. It's time for Pranking the Scammers Volume 4. Let's check this out.
Yes.
Thank you so much for holding on the line. My name is James Martin. I'm the Fun Expense Product Specialist with Senior Skier. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, ma'am. Thank you so much for asking.
Your voice.
Well, let me tell you first of all who we are.
Oh my god.
We are working with an independent insurance brokerage that is appointed with 40 different insurance companies.
So I don't even know what he's saying right there.
In 42 states and helping about 6,000 families in a year for their whole life insurance.
Wow, that's great.
Can I ask you, how old are you?
Oh, that's rather rude, but I'm 63 years old.
63, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and just to address you properly, how do you pronounce your first and last name?
My first name is Jenna, Jenna. My last name is Taylia.
Taylia?
Yes, genitalia.
Okay, I got you, Miss Jenna. So now, Miss Jenna, I need your zip code, man. What's your zip code?
75056.
75056. Okay. And which state are you in right now?
I am on Weatherbury.
You're on Weatherbury, right?
No, Dingleberry.
And why are you wasting my time?
Well, excuse me, sir. That's rather rude. I'm not wasting your time. That's the name of my
I know.
street.
You're giving me a wrong name, and you told me that your street is not your straight name.
Yeah,
Even
that
if you
is
don't
my
know
street name. It's 5142
Okay. Okay, 5142.
Cranberry Drive.
Okay. And
So
Drive. And what's
I
the
don't
zip code?
understand why you're getting so angry with me, sir.
Because, man, the last lady I just talked to her, she would like to give me all that her wrong information, just trying to
that
waste
is not
my
my
time for the last
problem.
time I didn't mean her.
That is not my
Okay.
problem. Okay?
Okay. What's your zip code?
Do you want my business?
Now, what does
Do you
mean?
want my business?
Yes, ma'am, because I'm
Tell
here
me
to
my
help
first
you.
and
That's
last
the reason
name.
your call is just...
Tell
your
me my
first name
first.
is Miss Gina.
No, it's Jenna. Jenna.
Jenna,
Hell
that's the
yeah.
reason I'm trying to say.
Okay,
Yes,
we'll
ma'am.
say it together.
It's Jenna.
Jenna.
Right?
One more time, I'm sorry.
Jenna tell ya. Jenna tell ya.
Jenna tell ya.
Jenna tell you, man. You suck.
I know, you sounds like you are.
I'm not.
Jenna tell you.
So, what are your thoughts about that, Jake? He said that he took advantage of the lady before me. He said, the last lady I talked to, you know, she'd give me wrong information. It's like, that's all he does is take advantage of these old people. Isn't that wrong?
Wow, he kind of makes me wonder, when will they get wise to it? And they're like, are you trying to get me again?
Well, you just got to be, like,
Hopefully.
I have a whole list in my phone of what to say, like how old I am, what my date of birth is, all that stuff, but I need new names. So if you guys have any names, leave them in the comment section because I need them. And I'll bring you the funniest prank calls you've ever heard. I still got a couple more in the bag, but yeah, those guys are just crazy. They're crazy people. Like they called me while we were just filming, like 3 or 4 times. Just wanting my business. Hello, I'm with the healthcare.gov. It's like, oh my gosh. Leave me alone.
The sad thing is how many people you know that they are ruining their lives and taking all their money and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, stick it to them, man. Stick it to them.
Yep, somebody's got to. So, yeah, that's all I got for History's Mysteries. And we do have a Truth Talk segment. So you ready to Truth Talk, buddy?
Oh, sure.
Let's a Truth Talk, my friend.
Because I haven't been caught yet.
So the beautiful Lynsi sent me these as well. So let's go ahead and play that first one.
This is the creepiest thing I've seen in a good minute. The fallen angel statue discovered in Russia.
What?
There's these dudes, Russian dudes, in Serbia? Was it? Siberia? They work in a gravel quarry or something. And they were just digging and they found this ginormous statue of this crazy, evil looking angel with its like hood down, but like its eyes and it's these giant wingspan things, and it's like holding a shield, and it was kneeling. And so these dudes standing up beside this statue, their heads didn't even go past the statue's head, and it was kneeling down.
Ew.
And it looks, the detail on it is like exquisite. Like it looks like a angel or man thing that was like frozen in time, like it fell in a concrete bath or something. And so what does that mean?
I was like, this starts
Don't
with a
know.
scary movie. They're gonna go put it in a lab and they're gonna soak it in like acid or something.
That's a scary. No.
Yeah, that's.
Have you heard of that, Jake? You were shaking your head like you had heard of it.
Yeah, I saw that came out. Very interesting. Old angel statues, you know, who knows?
Yeah. All right, let's play that next one.
Explain why we're not getting to see these images
This
live.
one.
The Apollo 11 landing was broadcast live. Why now don't we have the technology to see all of this live?
And we're getting a picture on the TV. You got a good picture, huh?
He's on the moon. And the second man is on the moon.
Live song. They're getting ready to move the TV camera now out to its panorama position.
Okay, as far as distance goes, Neil, and we'll line you up again when you finish the panorama. Tell me if you got a picture, Houston.
Well, we've got a beautiful picture, Neil.
issues with file transfers. We did have a number of communications glitches. We had either forward or return link problems.
Also, during coast in the zero gravity of environment of space.
It's very difficult to transmit on the fly, if you will, and get that all the way back to Earth.
Struggle to get communications.
Unfortunately, they're going to be in the darkness. They will not be sunlit, so we won't get very good video of them.
Huh? What? Huh? What? Oh, but you being you believed in NASA as a kid. What do you think of this? I mean, they can't even film Earth properly.
With today's technology too, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course, when I was watching this when I was young, it was fascinating. And of course, you know, it's sort of like you want to believe. And it really, really, you know, was something, you know, a lot of kids wanted to be astronauts or, you know, do stuff like that.
Now, have we proved to you that the moon landing was a hoax?
Yep.
Woo! We convinced one. Well, hope we convince some more. So, all right, let's play next one.
Things caught on camera. Bro, have you seen, okay, there's this clip of the Falcon 9. I think it was in 2020 or the past 3 years, or it might have been recent, but it's a Falcon 9 and it was in space and it was a live stream, right? And so it's showing the outside of the ship, okay? Someone spotted a mouse on the outside of the thing. You can see it on video. You can see it crawl.
In space?
That's what that's what people are freaking out about, man. Because people are like, wait a minute, is this true? Is this a live stream from actual space, or is this some type of studio stuff and they just let something slip?
Oh man!
But dude, I'll show you the video. It's absolutely crazy because you see it up close and you're just like, what is he looking at? And then you see something move that absolutely, that's 100% a mouse.
Oh my gosh!
And so it makes me wonder, like,
the new Ratatouille.
What are they up to? What are they filming?
Astronaut? What do you mean that could be an astronaut?
I mean, it could probably live for like a little bit on the
outside.
Way to space.
No, your
on the
head
way.
explodes.
But it looks like it's stagnant, like they're floating in. I don't know.
Oh boy, we did fly to the moon.
Yeah, they're for sure shooting stuff up there, but you know, I don't know, man. It's just crazy to see some of the modern space agencies and SpaceX and how they're revitalizing the love of space, and everybody's got their NASA fanboy t-shirt on or whatever, but they're still being very deceptive in certain elements of, you know, these things. So, man.
Well, especially the close-up footage. I mean, that's 100% a mouse. I don't know how high you have to be for it to explode. I mean, Opa used to tell me a story about him flying rockets up with mice in it, or with, was it mice?
Yeah, we went down to a pet store and got some white mice.
You know those little rockets that you could like light and then it come back down on a parachute?
Well, actually, we built our own.
Well, back then they were cool and they had stuff that we could never have today, but
yeah, it was pretty dangerous.
But did they live?
I don't know. We never found them.
Oh, that's kind of dark. All right, well, let's go ahead and play this next one then. This one kind of weirded me out. Why they don't let they don't want the face of Jesus to show, which this is not the face of Jesus, but very weird.
Oh, so she's trying to show off her train, and they're like, "No, ma'am, we don't want anybody to see that."
Yep.
Which event is this? Is this the Met Gala or is this the Emmys or something? What is this?
I don't know. I'll have to ask Lynsi. She sent me all these. I haven't seen these yet. I did see. She showed me a clip of this one. Look at her. She's like very serious about don't touch it.
Wow. Like that.
Can you believe that?
I don't know, man. I think Jesus was probably black.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely darker. There's a really weird movie. I don't know if I told you about it. It's called something Clarence. It's on Netflix. And it's very, very weird. And like, it doesn't make any sense. And me and Lynsi watched the whole thing trying to find a reason why it made sense, because it's the story of Jesus, but this guy just pretends. I don't want to give it away. You watch it, and if you guys can figure out what it means, please let me know, because Lynsi's a teacher. She's way smarter than I am, and she had no idea what it was about. And it had a great actor in it, the guy that was in Haunted Mansion. He's in Atlanta. But check it out, dude. It's weird. It's really weird.
That reminds me of the Monty Python's The Life of Brian.
I loved The Life of Brian. Opa showed me that when I was a little kid. Always look on the bright side. I don't know if we're supposed to like that, but I thought it was funny.
Oh, man.
All right, let's play this next clip.
All right. AI can do some cool things, I'll tell you that.
I mean, that's way cooler than what they had in the Catholic books, you know? Way cooler.
Man, just like your dad, his whole passion was to create films and TV shows showing how the scriptures and a biblical worldview can be so cool. I mean, they make it look so dumbed down, stupid, and you know they do it wrong or whatever. But man, there's an opportunity for some super cool movies and TV shows. Man,
Well, I think we're gonna do it, man.
I'm down.
I think we're all gonna do it. All right, Opa.
There is a thing about a guy who used to work in the Navy in the 70s. They place an acoustic sensor device all throughout the ocean floor in the certain areas. This was to map the ocean floor, detect submarines, and find other anomalies and stuff. The technology covers a large portion of the ocean floor and has given the Navy an amazing perspective of their underwater terrain. One of the contacts while in the Navy who was responsible for monitoring the sensors and everything, they would discuss underwater submersible objects that detected that would travel at thousands of miles per hour underwater.
What are you talking about?
He said they also have detected various structures underwater that are active and that they stay clear of. And so those might be like volcanoes or whatever,
Okay, yeah.
but they're detecting actual anomalies
This came out
underwater.
recently?
This is a report from a guy that worked in the Navy in the 1970s.
That was in the 70s? They were tracking this stuff?
When they placed the sensors devices on the ocean floor.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Like, you know how you get stoked about space?
Yeah.
I get stoked about the ocean.
Well, those are probably like alien stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yes!
Oh.
They're meeting.
Dude, the ocean freaks me out way more than space.
Collab Sunday teas.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be awesome. But yeah, are all the UFOs come out of the water? You know, what if that was the thing that you were showing earlier in the water? It's just something.
Yeah, I mean, definitely something. There's something under the oceans that is
Can
a
move.
mystery, and they're so invested in space travel and going out to the great beyond. And I think
Because
the
they
real
want us to look
aliens
up.
are right down here.
They want us to
Yeah.
look up, not down.
Yep.
Put that on a t-shirt. All right, let's play the next one.
Symbolism will be their downfall.
this is creepy.
Or is it just art? And let me be the first to tell you, it's all connected. I mean, if you know, you know. But first, let's go back to that video of Ellen DeGenerate. When the camera turns, you can see the inside of her house. Now, see that picture right there? Well, if you pause it and look it up, it says evil thoughts with revenge right next to it. Here's another picture of Ellen in her house, and this is the picture behind her. Now, the thing I'm curious about is the letters on top of the picture. These look oddly similar to the letters Marina Abramovich writes out when she does spirit cooking. Remember the beginning of the video? It's all connected. And that person that was in all red is Lady Gaga, and she went to Marina Abramovich many times for teaching. But let's continue. This is another picture of Ellen in her home. She's cutting her mother's hair, but what is that picture above her head?
If anybody knows what that is, leave it in the comments.
She's the big culture influencer, man.
Ellen DeGenerate. That's what Opa always called her. Degenerate. All right, let's play the next one.
Right here, another classic vanilla sky. The sky was obviously cut out. You can see the remnants of the mask right here. If I zoom out, right, if you didn't notice, you can see people's legs right here. They cut out the people on the top. Like, you can see that, look, there's some feet right there. This guy's head is like half cut off. All those people are gone. Now, what was the point of that? If there was, maybe there was something in the sky they might have wanted to cut out.
What if they were carrying something on top of that as well?
So this is where it goes into the whole theory of the old world known as Tartaria. This is where people are saying, hey, we were pretty advanced not too long ago. And it's been long enough now where the generations have been brainwashed to the education system where they can go back and manipulate these photos and cut out certain things. Now, that's just one theory. This is obviously the original sky right here, which was captured by the negative. This is also presented as a negative. The thing is that even if they're not hiding anything crazy, these photos should still be shown as manipulated photos, not glass plate negatives presented as original photos. Because now when we look back and we try teaching history, now we're teaching, what the f are we even teaching anyone? Because all these photos are mostly fake, you know?
Yep.
It's crazy, right?
Photo manipulation has gone back, even back to those early, like, 1900s photos, but you do see them do it even with today and composite imagery of deception.
Yep. All right, let's play that next one.
Remember when the ship crashed into the Baltimore Bridge? Why on earth is a crew still on it? 21 people for the last 2 months, and their phones are confiscated. Make this make sense. The day after the bridge collapsed, suspiciously, Biden came out and said, no investigation necessary. The US government will pay for the bridge. Shortly thereafter, the insurance company came out and said, we'll pay out too. In what world does the US government and insurance company pay out immediately without an investigation? Nothing to see here. Don't go digging around. Maui is still dealing with the debris removal and fighting with insurance companies 10 months later. But the bridge? No problem. Let's just pay it out. And then, now we find out that the 21 members of the crew are stuck on the ship, not allowed to leave, trapped, and their phones have been confiscated. Why are they prisoners? The news says they can't leave the ship because of visa restrictions.
Wow.
What? We let ungodly amount of people through the border without visas, but now it's a problem? The conspiracy theorists said cyber attack. Government quickly said accident. What's really going on here?
Now, Opa was just talking about this before we started the show. He was just telling me all about it. It's crazy that that was in here. All right, Opa, you want to put the next one?
This is the right spot. Look at this. This area is filled with books about pretend people.
That's right, Grover. This is the fiction section. Fiction means it's a made-up story.
She's pointing
Elmo,
at the
I bet
ball
we can find your Galactic Gale comic
and
book
the
here.
rocket.
Oh, hey, Grover, this is the fiction section. Fiction means it's a made-up story.
I should have known.
Target the good in all of us.
Fiction means it's a made-up story.
I would have never fallen for that. Everyone knows about that scam. What were you thinking?
This is the fiction section. Fiction means
it's a made-up story.
Catfished. Ugh, now it seems so obvious to...
Yes, 100% agree.
They run out of anecdotes, you know, and they just start making stuff up. Yeah. Like that Neil Armstrong guy. Have you seen him on the talk shows?
Neil Armstrong, you mean the first man to walk on the moon?
Talk about a fish story. Man, and they're buying it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorite scenes in that movie. That's great. That's Dumb and Dumber. That's crazy. Yeah, we're gonna have to use one of those clips.
Hey man, if they're Dumb and Dumber, can we be Truth and Truther?
Let's do it. Let's make t-shirts. If you guys will buy them, let us know. We'll make Truth and Truther shirts. But for sure. Okay, we got one more, and this one, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Let's play it.
Did you know that cats, whenever cats purr on your comfy, you purr on cats? This is because cats and purr on you comfy is reference to purr on cats you comfy, making your comfy on your cats.
What?
That's the new thing, apparently. That's the new thing. It's just it sounds like a fact video, but then it just means nothing, and it's just you're comfy on your cat, comfy, you know. It's just weird. I thought I should just add that in there just to throw you off a little bit. That was great.
And AI can do some crazy stuff.
Well, you got some memes for me, Jake?
I got a bunch of memes this week. Everybody get ready.
Let's go. Meme me up.
I know you're a little younger than I am. I've adopted the attitude of the great Negro Leagues, went on to become Negro.
Meme me up.
All right. Epstein's clients aren't in jail. They're busy creating a social credit system for you. You know that, right? Mosquito season begins, everybody. Get ready.
Oh my gosh, it's already started here.
Yeah. Fortunately, here in Missouri, where we're at right now, they have tons of caves. So there's like millions of bats keeping the mosquitoes pretty manageable.
Well, consider yourself blessed, man.
The waitress asks, "How is everything?" Me, in the middle of eating and my mouth full. "It's all right. It's pretty good." They always time it so wrong. It's like as soon as I'm chowing down and covered in sauce, that's when they're like, "Hey, how is the food? Do you like it? Let me talk to you." Man.
Every time.
Relatable. All right. Now listen, they've taken our history and turned it into fantasy, and taken fantasy and convinced you that it's real. And I like living in a fantasy world, brother.
Same.
All right. They pulled a shot off the market that they mandated you to take. Don't lose touch with how crazy that actually is. So, being pulled off the market after forcing people to do it, to, you know, with their jobs and careers and all the donuts they convinced us with, man.
Yep.
Here's one you'll like. When you believe humans control the red dot.
I do control the red dot. I wanted to whisper so Charlie didn't hear me.
It's the dot Illuminati.
Love it.
You are gullible and financially irresponsible. Wait till she hears I've won the Nigerian lottery. Oh, man. Did you know that the Aurora Borealis' lights are the colors the scripture mention are around God's throne?
Oh, wow.
And he sat was to look upon like jasper and sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne in sight like unto an emerald. So next time you look at the northern lights, when they penetrate down into America's far south than they ever have been, just remember, you're looking at the colors of the Almighty's throne. Wow.
Sweet.
If Paul saw the church today in America, we'd be getting a letter. What you're looking for is already inside you.
Yeah.
He's looking for food in the fridge.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm against Israel. I'm against Israel. Oh. The fascists. Oh, no.
That's true.
Yeah, it's so funny, the things that contradict the narratives and make people contradictory in nature based on supporting the next current thing, you know?
Yep.
Bill Gates explains why he named his company after his wiener. Boop.
Oh, it's Microsoft.
All right, here's astronomy. How astronomy is taught in college. Because they put that stuff on everything.
They sure do.
He's holding a little bottle that says gravity.
Yeah.
I put this on everything. Yep. So, glass coffins, will they be popular? Remains to be seen.
I would try it.
It's dark. When people keep asking God to bless the hands that prepared the food.
I think I still have a pair of those. That's funny.
Oh man, the Vac Street Boys are back. We're back.
Oh my gosh.
All right, the atheist robot. Nobody built me. I evolved from a vacuum cleaner. That's not how it works. So here's the difference between confidence and ego. And if you can't tell, that's a train track. One standing on the track, one standing near the track. All right, here we go. I'm here to get permission to use my own property.
Yeah.
Is that the office of the government? Any last words, Caesar? Name a salad after me.
I wondered why it was called that. Now I know. The more you know.
Now I know. He left me because I said I don't like electric cars. He just grabbed his man purse, pulled his hair up in a bun, and said, when the car is charged in an hour, he's gone. Oh, man. The moment when they pull a shot off the market that you were mandated to take. Man. Sorry for being so loud. I'm sure you're probably sick of the noise.
Sick of the noise.
Cicada noise. Sick of the noise. Alrighty. Chuck Norris and Superman once fought each other on a bet. The loser had to start wearing his underwear on the outside of his pants. Man, I think that I know it was like an our generation thing where Chuck Norris jokes were like running rampant for a long time.
We did invite him on the show, by the way. He lives right near me. Me, my dad, my mom, and Opa met him at a movie theater. He's sitting right in front of us.
Chuck Norris?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a Christian movie too, of all things.
That would be one of my all-time like getting to meet somebody over the years that I've known about and talked about, told jokes about.
Well, we'll make it
Chuck
happen.
Would be the guy.
We'll make it happen.
Got to get him on the show, man.
He's really short.
Yeah, but he's really nice too.
Are you, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, as long as you're nice and don't have Napoleon syndrome, you know that it's all right.
No, he's a very sweet, humble guy. But yeah, let's get him on the show and blow your mind. You'd be like,
cool.
oh my god.
Texas Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Here's the face you make when you have dirt on Boeing.
Oh no.
A dead face.
Oh.
When you interact with truth seekers that went a little too far down into the rabbit hole and end up getting completely lost. I like you, but you're crazy. Oh man. All right. And last one, I know the end of our episode today, the Shabbat will be beginning for all you Seventh-day keepers out there. So may the fourth commandment be with you.
And
Shabbat
also
shalom,
with
everybody. You. And also with you. Thank you. That's all for today, everybody.
All right, Jake, thank you for another great current news and memes as always. Opa, thank you for another great Opa's Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed our trip to Glen Rose, Texas. We hope you enjoyed today's episode as a whole. Stay awake, not woke, subscribe, and stay tuned. If you like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe, and also share with others so that we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. We couldn't do this show without you, so I just wanted to say thank you. And if you want to help support us, go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.